Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican for you, service lucky. I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Literally not true.
All right, I own up to it. I messed up this morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and I can't get my no battery, and I don't know, that shot is just so bad. I just can't have it on the screen. I've got to get that. I need a clean HDMI feed. That's what I need. We'll get that figured out. We'll get the camera picture. I'll swap it with one of my other ones. But all right, welcome. It is we're back. Welcome. I need your help is what I need. First thing, I need your help. I completely forgot to monitor who was first in chat this morning, and I have no idea who to give the internet to. And I as far back as I can go, I can see Sixfold Bus, I can see Loretta Branham, Petrified, Sharon McDonald, Tower Hill Girl, Wendy Shifsky, Terry Lynn. I just don't know who was first. I mean, it might be Kim R. It might be Bretta Aller. So at this point, I'm going to. It's Golden Girl. It's Golden Girl, says Ashley. Let's put this on the screen. Here we go. Well, that's not the right one. I need to be full screen. It's been a rough morning. Here we go. It's Golden Girl, says Ashley. Golden Girl won. Golden Girl has won the internet before, and she knows what to do. She is a repeat offender when it comes to being first in chat. So thank you very much, Golden Girl. We are going to go ahead and email the internet ownership title right over to you. And you're responsible for all internet-related maintenance worldwide until we go live again next time. So I appreciate you willing to step up and do that for us. Let's give it to Yoda.
Let's give it to YODA.
Yoda is the dog's name, I believe. If we're hearing the news right, the dog that sort of made the initial capture of our PA escapee. And did a little bite on the head, a little friendly nip, little chew toy action, and great work. Hopefully the dog gets more than just a nice little treat for that. That was amazing. But thank you, MMM girl. Let's give it to Yoda. Great pictures coming out of there, and quite a few pictures, even from the takedown. We're not going to be showing a lot of those today. We're going to try to catch up on a few court-related items that we've missed. Coming up to this, but we have a few procedural things we have to do. Let's see. The Murdoch trial. Great question. I'm getting buzzed and notifications, so if I'm missing something, let me know. Let me tell you what we want to do first today. If I can see on my screen. There it is, right over here. My phone is buzzing like nonstop. Hold that question, Mary Murphy. Hold that question. Yoda is our honorary manager today. I have some procedural things we have to get through first. Initially, we have to determine if there's anyone who has had a birthday today. Sentencing is misspelled. That's because I spelled it. Thank you for the heads up. I'll go ahead and make an attempt to fix that. No, it abbreviated on my screen. Squirrel. There we go. I've got an A where an E should be. There's no excuse for that. That's unacceptable. All right. Sentencing has been corrected. How's your date to Missouri? We went to Outback Steakhouse, which I don't think we'd been before. It was a wonderful date. Mrs. R.A. said, I've never tried the bloomin' onion, and I've never tried a bloomin' onion. And honestly, I'm not trying to throw some shade at Outback Steakhouse because the dinner was delicious. But I assumed, and maybe I assumed incorrectly, I assumed that when they brought the bloomin' onion out, that all the petals of the bloom were edible. And when you get to the outside, the largest petals, I didn't realize that maybe it was just our onion. Maybe this is a one-off, but it had not been peeled. So I had like onion peel, like that you can't bite through, and it's just like, yeah, I had that. Other than that, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Really enjoyed it. The sauce they gave with it was really good. Also had their asparagus, which was pretty good. I love steamed asparagus, and had a little tiny a morsel of meat. A little 6-ounce steak. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful date. We haven't been able to go on a date and sit down together for so long, and it was just good to go out and.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it was correct. And sit down. Yes, we know how James and Cynthia got on today. We have that video. We're going to be playing that today as well. Let me first. I'm a little discombobulated. There's that word again. No birthdays today, but my kids lost it too. Says Skyhawk. I haven't seen, and chat's going a little fast, I haven't seen if we've got any birthdays yet to sing to. I've never had a peeling on a bloomin' onion. Is that a thing? Is there always the peel there? I mean, it's like somebody handing somebody a banana who'd never eaten a banana before and eating the middle of the banana and saying, this is delicious, and then taking a bite of the peel and be like, hey, this is not so good. I don't know if you're supposed to eat the outside or not. I tried, and I would say no, it's not good. Let's see. With chat being as what it is, let's take off that any delay stuff. It's been good. So let's turn off slow mode for just a minute. Is that all right? Is our mods okay with that? I turned it off for a little bit. If it goes crazy, of course we're gonna have to slowly step it up. The peel isn't supposed to be in it. Okay, so maybe it was just a one-off. Maybe they just grabbed an onion that hadn't gone through the peeling process. All right. Other than that, so yes, it would be. I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars. The service was pretty good. It was sort of weird that we had. I shouldn't complain about service, okay? Because realize in today's day and age, it's hard to get good service. It's hard to find good employees. There are companies that keep the help wanted sign out for a couple of reasons. First of all, they're not getting enough people to apply, and turnover is high. But second of all, the employees, a lot of employees that are applying for the position aren't the sort of people the company wants to have represented. Maybe their work ethic isn't high enough or something like that. And so we had like 3 or 4 different people, one greet us at our table, one take our order, another person bring our food. There was not a lot of consistency there. So I don't know. The only problem I have with that, the only complaint, is I like to tip the person that does all the service, and I know one person gets the tip. And how do you tell the last one that comes to the table? It's like, well, here you go. Everyone else did the work, but here's your tip. And we gave them the tip, and hopefully they sorted out on their end. But that's the only thing that I thought was interesting. Okay, let's see. Hello from Dubai, MMM. I didn't know you were in Dubai. That is awesome. I've seen some amazing pictures, specifically some man-made islands and some really tall buildings over there. Good to have you here. Lee says you're supposed to peel mangoes too. We've learned that lesson, Lee. We have. It was a rough lesson to learn as well. Kimberly Crow says, I had the pickles last night, and you're right, they are awesome. Kimberly, I'm not lying. They are the best pickles I've ever had. It's amazing. DMB, yes, we did hit 40,000 subscribers. When you have a massive influx like that, I don't know what happens afterward, but immediately afterward, there's like a little relaxation. It's like you're blowing up a balloon, and then you go to tie it, and some air escapes. That's what's happening right now. So I think we've lost about 200 after the big push. But that is to be expected, and we've seen it over and over. Tashi, now we all want blooming onions. I'm willing to try another one. I am, if we can get one without the peel. I think that would be great. And I'm not huge on onions normally. I mean, I like them on, as a side dish. But it was really good. Evangeline Light just got back from Edinburgh and Zurich, Scotland and Zurich. Wow, Switzerland and Scotland. Same thing at the Irish cottage restaurant for me, says Tower Hill Girl. This is why Recovery Addict loves pickles. No peeling necessary. You just open and eat. Although I will recommend you chilling them a little bit. All right. Appreciate those that are here. For those that are new, this is a much more laid-back day, and honestly, it's going to be a little bit laid back because normally we follow a live case. Normally, we're right there in the courtroom waiting for the judge to show up, watching the defendant come in, taking a look at the people in the gallery and everything like that. And we will be back to that very soon. But a few things happened during this manhunt, and mostly, I'd say in the last couple days, 2 or 3 days, that we have been following to this point, and I wanted to address as well. So, having said that, I'm not ready to go to that yet. So let me do a couple of them. I still have to transfer a file, so I'll do that while this first one is playing. We can discuss this, but just 1 second. Okay. Wait for it. There we go. I think it's this one. Let me hold off on that. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Is that correct? You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Okay. There we go. So let's see. Recovery Addict. My daughter Kaibap needs a birthday shout out. Kaibap? Is that how we say toxic? Is that how you say it? Happy birthday, Kaibap. Toxic Orchid has been with us from the get-go. Very, very much one of the original OGs. I guess OG, that would be redundant. One of the OGs. But happy birthday. Your mom's amazing. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the work she does, especially with Discord and all that help that is to us and our community as we track all these cases. Amy P says, I came for the manhunt, but I'm staying for you. Amy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We are so relieved. I mean, it was, I didn't realize how emotionally invested I was in the situation. And just when it was over, I realized I sort of cut it short after the press conference. I'm just like, I need to be done. I needed to just relax and step back, and it was wonderful. And as soon as I did that, I said, okay, I'd like to focus on something, get my mind busy, and just get everything straight, because we've been so keyed up for so many days. Almost vicariously, as people from PA are calling and asking for
Brooks
questions.
This morning starts in 5 minutes.
Brooks in 5. Burner phone the link. Didn't have that on the schedule. But is he going pro se? We might add that to the list. We've got a lot of short things to do. We've got one. This first one that I was going to do was. Man, now I've got to get Brooks in there. Do you have the link to the courtroom, the Wisconsin courtroom he's in? What region and everything? Because I'd like to look at that and see what happens. It probably is going to be a quick hearing. I don't consent to that name. That's Mr. Brooks right there. If you, let's see. Tower Hill Girl, I cried when I found out they caught him. So happy for PA. Yes, here's the burner phone. If you can send me the link for Brooks, or just point me in the right direction. Some of those courts are a little hard to find the feed on. If it's available, I'd like to look at that. So Kaibap, happy birthday to you. That's what we were saying. We were going to sing a little bit. Is there anyone else that we have to sing to? And I'm saying Kaibap, is that right? Okay, here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kaibap. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Happy birthday, Toxic. You've got a wonderful daughter, it sounds like, and thanks for letting us know it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Kaibap. Hope you have a great one. It's wonderful to have your mom with us on a regular basis. So thank you for sharing her with us. All right, it's a little bit hoarse because the Wednesday yell from yesterday was a bit much. I probably overdid it. Quick, let's see, the burner phone. Let's see who's got.
Let no dead horse go unbeaten.
Let's see, I was watching here, but I'd rather watch it with you. Let's see who has this. Okay, Milwaukee Circuit Branch 10. All right, I can find that one. Just 1 second.
Is that correct?
It was Milwaukee Circuit. Branch 10. Okay, if it's going to be streamed, if that's the right one, I've got it pulled up. Let's see. Starts in 5. I don't see a feed yet. Is it going to be live streamed? Are we sure that? Check a couple others. There's a Murdoch hearing about to start. The hearing, I don't think we're going to cover that live, unless it gets spicy.
Scratch all that. Oh, that was
Scratch
terrible.
all that.
I apologize.
For those that are new, the sound effects you're hearing are triggered by you. We have some commands that play some sound effects. A lot of times we deal with some heavy stuff, right? We have court cases that deal with some very heavy topics. We have just sad things that go on, and we want to follow the court. We want justice for the victims, but at the same time, we like to put a little bit of levity in the moment sometimes, just so we can. It's bonding. We're not trying to make fun or mock the court at all, but we take little bits of court and little courts that we watched, or little bits of courts that we watched. I think it's playing. Let's see. Is it going? It says currently not streaming, so I'm hoping it starts. Anyway, and those commands can be played, and you're hearing some of those. When court begins, when we're watching something, I turn those commands down because we're here to listen. We're here to observe and to weigh in and talk about what's going on. And so during the actual court case, we turn the sounds way down, and sometimes off, but usually off. So now they're going off like crazy. Kimbers, Ohio says, 5 months, thanks, RA, and I love it. Thank you so much, Kimbers, Ohio. Good to have you here. We also have, let's see, Evangeline Light just gifted 5 memberships as well. We have so many new members. Thank you so much. Cheryl Blackburn says, so excited that I found you guys. I watched the Manhunt with you, staying for the long haul. Thank you. This is a really fun community, Cheryl. You're going to find that this is a kind and very accepting community. We ask everyone just to treat everyone like you would your friends. And sometimes you can have some discussions with your friends that you don't agree with them on, but at the end of the day, you're still friends. And so just we don't do the name calling, and we also steer clear of the politics, because that's just something that can, we can always find something that we already disagree on, and politics is usually one of the easiest places to do that. So we steer clear of politics here, and just have a good time. So thank you. Please steer clear of Murdoch. I think we've had enough of that. The thing is, Murdoch coming up, it's going to be the financial stuff. And we sat through, what was it? It felt like 9 weeks, but it was probably like 9 days of financial testimony in that Murdoch trial. There may be some interesting things that we'll follow in summary. I'm not seeing the live feed from Milwaukee County Circuit Court. Can we confirm that it's branch 10 that he's appearing in? If any of my document hounds can do that. Susie Gale from Maine, thanks for checking in. Alexander as well, great community. Happy I found your channel. Thank you very much. We're good. We're happy that you're here. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. Derek Gebhardt says, real glad Dr. G spoke so highly of your channel, because he is how I found you. Great work. Dr. G was on Brandy Churchwell's channel yesterday, and this morning, while I was supposed to be preparing, I snuck that in and was watching that. It was a great interview. They were talking about the Tommy walkthrough, Thomas Randolph, from that trial that we just finished, and it was wonderful. Brandy did a great job. It's so good to see Dr. G. Dr. G has another video, I think, that just dropped last night that I haven't seen. I'm behind 2 on his. I do apologize. I have to get caught up. Where is your wife's YouTube channel? I homeschooled my daughter and could use some pointers. Exclamation point.
Don't miss the forest for the trees.
Misses. Is that what it is? Homeschool ground 0. Yeah, this is the command, I think, without the period. Without the period, the bot should respond with Mrs. RA's link. Oh, it's only 8:30 a.m. in Milwaukee. That's why I was worried. I'm like, if it starts in 5 minutes, is it start at 8:30? There's Mrs. RA's link, and it's Homeschool Ground 0. It's abbreviated on here, but Homeschool Ground 0 is her channel. Thank you for checking that out. I appreciate that. Let's see. Let's see. Oh man, Hurricane Lee. We are so glad that it has not been as bad as originally forecast, but it still is going to be bad for the people that experience that. Weather Watch, my good friend and podcast partner, who's also a moderator on this channel, has a YouTube channel as well where he's been posting some updates about that storm. If you're curious, you can do !WW in chat, and that will point you over to his link. Did you find the DB trial, Dodie? I'm looking at Milwaukee County Circuit Court Branch 10. Is that the right branch? Daryl Brooks, for those that don't know Daryl Brooks, he was the person who, it's not live yet. Okay, so we're good. Yes, that's right. Okay, we're set up for that. We'll have audio come in just as soon as it goes live. We've got the feed active right now. I spelled Bryan wrong as well. I typed so quickly this morning. I wish I could use the it was voice to text. But no, I just butchered it. Okay, and I spelled it wrong twice. I think something flickered. Let's see if that worked. DMB, I fixed it. Thank you very much. C. David says, excited to watch your channel on a typical day in Phoenixville. It's great to have so many people from PA here with us. I have to say, I talked with my wife. Because we homeschool, one of the things that's available to us as homeschoolers is a flexible schedule where we can work schooling into a trip. So if we're studying some American history, we can do a trip along the East Coast to sites that they're learning about. And we're not limited to just like those holiday weekends or something like that. So it gives us some flexibility. We get to visit places when they're maybe not peak season because it's during school, and we get to enjoy it more without the pressure. So we're looking at going up to PA. We've been looking at the pictures of the gardens and got some recommendations for a couple of places there to stay, places to eat, places to visit. Thank you so much for all the tips. Let's see. Does that make any part of your trip tax deductible? I don't know. I will tell you this. I pay my taxes, or at least I'm planning on it. The taxes that are involved with the business are crazy, and so for me, I have an accountant that is related to me that has volunteered to help me out because it's just so much to figure out, and there's so many rules and laws. I will say that the taxes are much higher than I thought they would be. Being self-employed as opposed to being employed by somebody else. Okay, so we're gonna wait first for Daryl Brooks. If this case opens, are we saying it's an 8:30 start and they're just late, or is it do we have an hour and we could start something before then? I'll pay my taxes eventually. The one time I was delinquent. The one time I was delinquent, I paid the taxes while on air, and that was for this. I've got my property is divided into 2 lots, and one of them is like a strip just wide enough to fit a lawnmower. And for some reason, that little strip, they won't bill me in the same bill. I have to pay separate taxes for that little strip of grass that I mow. And so I was late on my $50 of property tax. But I'm current now. I'm paid up. Okay. Let's see, Sharon. What are we getting here? Okay, we've got parole hearings from the state. Oh, the parole board from the state of Louisiana. That's an option. And I have to do a huge shout out to Amber, or Eclipson's Vixen, by the way, who is not, she's under the weather today. I'm not sure if she's going to be in chat at all, but she sent my wife, she'd mentioned something about chocolate, and she sent my wife a bag of chocolates, some really yummy chocolates, a little sign on the door that says, what does the sign say? Can you open that door a little bit for me? It says, do not enter unless you have chocolate, knock 3 times. And then she sent her a little pair of chocolate socks that have chocolate pictures on them. the sign, my youngest son, just hung up on my door to the studio right here, and we're like, oh, that's cool, that's cute. And then my son came in and he sat down in my chair and started reading his Garfield book. And my mom, or his mom, my wife, was calling him and saying, little R.A., where are you? And he was like, not responding. Finally, he's like, in here. And he had the door closed. And so she came and opened the door, and here he is reading his book. And he side-eyes her like this. And he's like, what was it you said?
Did you bring any chocolate?
He says, did you bring any chocolate? Because he's waiting for the delivery of chocolate. It was funny. So thank you very much. Okay, the Christopher Gilroy. This is what we're going to talk about right here. We've got the hearing from that specifically addresses the media in the courtroom. Okay, we'll take it out, okay? We're going to be quiet with that one because that makes a lot of noise. Thanks, buddy. We've got a lot of things we're going over, and that's one of them, is the media in the courtroom, specifically with Bryan Kohberger. Daryl Brooks, we think he's going pro se today in a hearing. I'm not sure if we're sort of on standby for that out of Milwaukee. But I haven't seen the start time for sure. Is it 9:30? Or what time is it Eastern time? So it's 9:30 my time. So is it 9:30 their time?
For the record, I don't consent to that night.
Let's see. I'm sorry. There's a lot of chat I'm trying to catch up with. Did we thank the neighbor for the brownies? We did, and they were delicious. They were like those thick, moist, fudge type brownies that were just they're not good for you, but you just can't stop eating them. Lucky for me, I was not served one until there was only one left. So that probably saved my waistline. Karen Ann said, I didn't know what to do with myself last night without you. I was bored. Karen, thank you so much. I appreciate all the kind words. I've had so many. I've been trying. There's a handful out you that can raise your hand and say, yes, he replied to me. I've got so many. I've got like 300 some odd messages I still need to reply to, just to thank people who are, I would ask a question on here. They'd send me a text and say, hey, here's the answer. Here's the location. This is where you need to look on the map. Here's a picture of this. Little update of, this is my experience, what I'm seeing. Just a huge outpouring of just information that I did an awful job managing. I had people reaching out to me with questions through my eBay listing for our little mugs. And I just did a poor job. I've got to figure out a better way to do that. Let's see. My father was an EA. If I can offer advice, it would be to keep the best records possible and save every receipt. The good news is there are not a lot of receipts, but the receipts there are, I have saved. So I keep all the records that way. There aren't a lot of. I don't go places to do this very often, although that will be changing. Everyone in Pennsylvania, probably late to work. They just slept in. This morning. First good night's sleep in a couple weeks. Okay, I'm looking. I realize there's a lot of chat. I can't see any responses specifically about the Daryl Brooks, Milwaukee County Circuit Court Branch 10 start time. I don't have the documents for that case pulled up right now. Yeah, I'm going to need a little bit more, Ivan. I have the best mods I could ever ask for that have helped me, and they just dig in and I throw at them just all sorts of stuff with no warning, and they just get it done and are friendly about it and happy and working overtime and beyond. Jen Hinn, welcome. Good to have you here from Chester County. I appreciate all of you. I'm so glad this is over for you. Why do you call it a burner phone? Doesn't it defeat the purpose? Raghu, it's sort of a burner phone. We've never changed the number, right? It's been the same in the 10 months I've been live streaming. But because we deal with courts a lot and we deal with crime, I thought it would be funny to call it the burner phone. But it's a phone number I could dispose of immediately. It's not hardwired linked to a specific one. It's a software number, and and it's just a way I made myself available so that people could reach out. All right, can we do an overview of the DB case? I'm trying to find that one right now, and I don't know. I think there are two cases. Darrell Brooks, first of all, he's in jail for the rest of his life. He's never going to get out, okay? But he's in jail because he drove his car down the parade route, the Waukesha parade route, the Christmas parade, and he killed multiple people and injured scores of people, and did this all because he was mad at his girlfriend and somebody was in his way, and he just drove all the way through the parade route. The age of victims is from just young enough to be in the parade and walk with their parents all the way up through the dancing grannies who were in the parade and just spreading cheer that way. So the guy's we can pretty much agree he's a scumball. The reason it was so bizarre, and he was actually the case we started live streaming with on this channel, is because he represented himself. He didn't want his attorneys to represent himself, and it was an awful choice for him. It's an awful choice for virtually everybody, and he was just his whole approach was that if I say these words and say I refuse to accept the rules that you operate under, that he would somehow get away with it, and it was bizarre and it was frustrating. Let's see. This hearing is about the charges for Erica Patterson, who testified against him. That was his a former girlfriend. Is this when he hit her with the car? The same car he drove through the parade, but before the parade happened? Yeah, it's crazy. Judge Dora did an outstanding job with his attitude in court. She has the patience of a saint. She was fun. That's what we heard, like day after day after day. Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction? And that's not my name. He refused to be identified by the name Darrell Brooks because the court writes it in all capital letters, and he is not the person known as Darrell Brooks in all capital letters. His says camel case. Shows it should start at 8:30, but hasn't started yet. I'm worried that there may not be a live stream offered. $8:30 Central is right now. I'm not seeing a live stream, and it's definitely branch 10, right? Christy, you haven't missed anything yet. We're gonna start something right now as we're waiting for Darrell Brooks to start, and we may actually not get the feed. Sometimes the courts don't push the live feed that they should, especially if like another news camera comes up and they say, "Oh, you're going to film it," then we won't go live, and suddenly the rest of us who are planning to watch it through their existing system are sort of cut out of the loop. Yeah, Melinda, we're hearing all sorts of stories that basically they caught him just in time. Okay, Carol, I see that one. Jonathan Quillis, who's carrying that feed? We'll have to look and see if we can get it. Weather Watch is live right now on his stream. Sweet. Following the storm. Okay, let's do this. While this is going, we're going to start with Bryan Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger, for those that are just getting up to speed on this and are sort of new to true crime, because I know we've got a few of you that are here. Bryan Kohberger is accused of stabbing to death 4 college students in an Idaho town which has just escaped my name. It's north of Boise. Where's Idaho State University at? Can somebody help me with the name of the town? It's gone. Moscow, Idaho. Okay. He's accused of stabbing 4 roommates to death in this house where there were multiple people sleeping. Some of the people living there, at least one girl, witnessed him, like saw him, walked right by him right before he's committed these murders. And it's bizarre. It's crazy. And then there was a huge search for him because there was nothing about him. Nobody knew who it was. We were searching everywhere. A huge manhunt. They finally found him. They arrested him in Pennsylvania, and then he flew him across the country. We followed that flight. We've been following that court case because it's such a high interest. The lawyers have been saying we don't want cameras allowed in the courtroom, like his lawyers. They say it's that would prejudice the jury, and it would not be fair for my client. He couldn't get a fair trial. The state has said, we're sort of like meh on that one. You know, we want a fair trial, but we're not like no cameras allowed. We're not on that side. And then we've got the media in general who have a lawyer representing them, the collective media, and they are filing motions as an intervener in the case, saying, Your Honor, you're making decisions that affect us and our rights. We'd like to intervene and speak. And so there was a hearing yesterday that we're going to listen to right now that addresses that. And we get to it super loud. Sorry about that. Give me just 1 second. We'll get that on the screen. So this hearing has Bryan Kohberger. That's him just sitting in the chair with his lawyers next to him. The lawyer closest to us and the gentleman with the longer white-haired beard are for the prosecution. Judge just came through the door. I think this is Judge, right? That's his name.
All right, well, good afternoon. Let's get on the record, please.
They have some trouble with the record here first thing in the morning. The lights are flashing like that because it's a pulse width modulator.
Thank you. We are now on the record. Stop. Okay.
That's an LED screen. If you're in the room, it doesn't look like it's flashing like that. It's just the camera that causes that.
I'm moving around.
It's a little noisy, but this is the camera. There's one camera in the courtroom. That's as tight a shot as we're going to get on Bryan Kohberger today. There are some people who are appearing by Zoom as well, so they're the ones that are on the screen in the background. And the whole issue is cameras in the courtroom. That's what we're going to talk about in this trial. The judge is making those decisions, or is hearing the arguments.
Good to go. Let's try this again. Can you hear me, Ms. Beatty, Mr. Nye? Yes. Ms. Massa?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, we are now on the record. This is State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger, CR 2922-2805. Mr. Kohberger is in the court with counsel, Mr. Logsdon and Ms. Taylor. Ms. Massa is participating or observing from Zoom or through Zoom. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson and Mr. Rudley, who are in the courtroom, and Mr. Nye and Ms. Beatty are observing through Zoom. We also have Ms. Olson and Mr. Carone representing the Media Coalition, and Ms. Towler is the court reporter. So, welcome back, everybody. And I think what we need to do is first address the motion to intervene. So, Ms. Olson, is that for you?
Ms. Olson is the media lawyer.
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, as with the motion that proposed interveners filed before the court, we seek to intervene for the limited purpose of opposing the defendant's motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. It's our position that the proposed interveners are the ones who are most affected by that particular motion. And in light of the court having asked us, essentially the same group of interveners, to weigh in on this issue before, we would seek to intervene again just for that limited purpose of opposing removing cameras from the courtroom, Your Honor. And I think it's within the court's discretion to do so.
All right, thank you. So, I see this. Oh, don't go away. No, I want to talk to you about this because I think that, well, I'm not sure, okay, that this is the same intervention as we had the first round. I think this is a different situation. And I think some of your clients kind of jumped the gun a little bit, thinking that they are interventions or interveners. And I mean, you know, this was filed on August 30, 2023, so we really haven't had a chance to talk about this, and I haven't addressed it in court, as you know. So, and we already started with the merits, okay, before I have approved the intervention. So my issue first is really on the standing, because the first round had something to do with Constitution, state Constitution, U.S. Constitution, and I'm not sure that applies in this situation under Rule 45, and I think that the Supreme Court, the Idaho Supreme Court, sort of addressed that a little bit in the former motion for mandamus. So, do you want to address that, the standing issue first?
Sure, Your Honor. With respect to the Supreme Court's decision, when we filed the petition in front of it back in January, I think they said that the media has the right and should be able to intervene when there are issues related to First Amendment issues and access issues. And Your Honor, I would submit that, and we understand that ICAR 45 is absolutely the governing piece of law on this. But when we talk about press access to the proceedings, cameras in the courtroom, I would submit, Your Honor, are part of that press access to the proceedings, because it's the cameras in the courtroom, it's the ability to have full coverage, it's the ability to have still photographers that provide access to a much greater number of people than even having just the reporters who are going to write things down and post stories after the fact. It allows sort of that broader access that allows people to see sort of firsthand what is happening, and we think that's an important First Amendment right, Your Honor.
That's a First Amendment right, to have cameras in the courtroom?
No, Your Honor. Press access is absolutely, and public access, I think, is absolutely a First Amendment right.
So the press and the public have full access to this courtroom?
I agree, Your Honor. Having cameras in the courtroom, having still photographers, having live coverage allows that public access to be much greater than it is through just having people having to travel to Moscow, having to come into this particular courtroom, Your Honor.
That has no implication for the United States Constitution or the Idaho Constitution. I just want to clear this issue up in terms of what the standing is.
Your Honor, I respectfully disagree, because I think that the First Amendment and the Idaho Constitution both contemplate this right broad access piece of it. And I think there's an argument to be made that having cameras in the courtroom takes a step from that right of public access and makes it more open to additional people. So I think there is a First Amendment interest there. It is certainly not as strong as, for example, with the proceedings, there was some sort of order to close the proceedings or no journalist could come into the courtroom. I think that would be a far more significant problem, Your Honor. But I think in terms of First Amendment interests, the broader, it may be because there's some access already, the First Amendment interests are smaller, but I think there is a First Amendment interest in having broad access to the court proceedings. I think it's also in the interest of the court, Your Honor, to make that access as broad as possible, because we're unfortunately in a day and age where for some people, if you can't see it, you don't believe it, or if you can't see it, it didn't happen. And there's an increasing need for people to see for themselves precisely what's going on inside the courtrooms of this country.
Are there cases that support that?
That support cameras in the courtroom?
No. And that is based in constitutional law.
Well, Your Honor, I would say that the line of cases that we both cited, Estes in Chandler versus Florida, says that there's no prohibition on having cameras not in the courtroom. There is not a case that says flat out, under the First Amendment, there is a right to have cameras in the courtroom.
Okay. Well, I understand that. Let me, because I was looking back at this decision that the Idaho Supreme Court made, and it does say that petitioners, meaning you in that case, or your clients, I should say, are correct that Idaho's rules of criminal procedure do not provide a specific mechanism for third parties to intervene in a criminal case. Likewise, the federal rules of criminal procedure do not provide for a motion to intervene in a criminal case brought by the United States. Of course, we know that well. It says, however, both state and federal courts often permit the media to intervene in criminal cases on a limited basis, or at least file a motion as interested parties in the defense of public access and free speech, including in Idaho. So I think, I mean, we're on the same page on that, and I understand that. This idea of intervention specifically versus as an interested party, because I know in the Daybell case, the media was characterized as interested parties. I'm just not sure that we get all the way to intervention, because historically anyway, my understanding of the rules is intervention means you are really a party in the case. And that gives you significantly more access. I'm thinking about this more as an amicus brief or presentation, because I'm willing to hear it. I'm willing to read the briefs. I think that's important, but I'm not necessarily comfortable going to call it all, or the media coalition, to be interventions. So do you see a difference there?
Your Honor, I understand the difference, the distinction that the court is making. That's why our motion to intervene has always been for a limited purpose. And you know, full candor, this was a difficult one to sort of try to solve procedurally. It's been my experience in Idaho state courts that rules and cases are read very literally, and we couldn't find a rule, so that's why we went to the Supreme Court to begin with, because there wasn't a rule that allowed us to do that. And I think for purposes of the proposed interveners, the media coalition in this case, that being allowed to present its argument to this court, whether it's as interveners for a very limited purpose, and that's without a rule, that's typically, I think, how you would get into a case. I was trying to liken this to, like, you know, motion to quash a third-party subpoena, but there's a rule that allows you to come in and challenge that. So when there was no rule, we were trying to identify, well, what is the procedural mechanism? And intervention is typically, certainly there's a civil analog, and there's a way to, that's just the analog that we requested from the court before. We think it's consistent with what the Supreme Court said in the case that it decided in April. But if the court does not want to give us intervention status, I remember we had that discussion a little bit last time, and we asked you to sign the order, so in part that would be precedent for us to do this, and you did.
Yeah. Everybody agreed, so I signed it. But now I've thought more deeply about it.
Yeah, and I think, Your Honor, if the court would rather the media coalition appear as interested parties, I mean, that would also serve the media coalition, and we'd be happy to present argument just as interested parties, so that there is some entity speaking for continued access in the courtroom.
Okay, and I could even label you as media coalition.
That would be fine with us, I think, Your Honor.
Okay, great. And there is some language, and I don't need to read it now, on page 14 and page 15, that kind of caution going too far with intervention, or what we call it. And I'm trying to clarify this a little bit. I think the Supreme Court is trying to clarify it a bit in criminal cases. And my reading of this is they really don't want the media to just be coming into the middle of criminal cases to, I guess, exercise their concerns.
And I don't think the media wants to either, Your Honor. I think both with the initial motion to intervene and the issue that was raised last time about the non-dissemination order, and both this issue with respect to cameras in the courtroom, those were both about sort of fundamental access to the sources of information that this trial and this proceeding are really all about. And so that's, I think, the media doesn't want to have to, they don't have to pay me, Mr. Crone, every time they want to make an argument in court, and we don't think that would be appropriate It's just those issues that really fundamentally affect what sources of information they can access in the process of reporting on this score, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Olson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll give you first. Mr. Rudley?
No. Well, Your Honor, the state has no objection to either classification of the media for the limited purpose of helping the court decide this issue.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rudley. Okay, Mr. Logston?
Yes, we're not going to object, obviously, to hearing from the media, and I certainly understand the court's concern, and it's interesting. But I mean, so long as I guess I'm not filing things willy-nilly and making discovery requests, we're not terribly concerned about how they're being labeled.
Great, thank you. Maybe I'm just being a little nerdy about, the rules and even the history in Idaho, and also relying on some of the language in the petition for writ of mandamus that the Supreme Court issued on, I guess it was April 24, 2023. So I really think it's more appropriate, and I looked into this to some level, and to sort of an amicus brief, but not considered as a party, as an intervention, but sort of a presentation or brief addressing particular issues of interest that are important. No question about that. So that's how I'm going to view this, and I'm going to deny the motion to be for intervention. I don't know why I'm having a hard with that, but however, I will certainly consider the arguments, consider the briefs, and I will consider that while balancing the concerns of both the state and the defendant too. So let's move then to the arguments on cameras in the courtroom, and we'll start with Mr. Kohberger's team, and I believe that's also going to be you, Mr. Logston.
Sure, I don't intend to take a lot of time. We've briefed this. Moreover, we somewhat argued it a few months back. I think our position is that the court, I think, understands our concerns about turning this into a spectacle, the way that may prejudice the public against our client, the way in which that dehumanizes people, Constellation, and turn this into more of a TV show drawn on than a court proceeding, which is what it is. And I think everyone understands that. Our concern is that since that time, it doesn't seem like much has changed. The media's argument, as far as I can understand it, is that the cameramen that are here are doing their jobs well. There are editors for various organizations, there are people on social media that take those images and then do things with them that we may not like. And that if the court removes the cameras, presumably those people will just use older images, and we won't have effective things that will fall very far. Our position is that removal of the cameras does two things. One, it stops new images, and I don't think we can underestimate the power of novelty when it comes to what the public is interested in. Use of old pictures becomes ho-hum. There's a reason why we live in a world of memes where people are constantly trading around pictures. They quickly get old. There's a new one, it seems like every day. There's hundreds of brand new images. So the concept of removing this sort of almost sideshow from what's being put out there, we think would be an important way to kind of take away the sensationalization of this case and just kind of reduce it to hopefully the words on the page. And if they're using old photos, etc., you can't stop them. But we just don't see that as being as big an issue as a constant stream of new images that are being manipulated, etc., to make viral content or what have you. Our secondary point is just that we don't like where the camera is currently sitting because it looks like where I'm sitting and my laptop. I got one of these fun screens so that if you look at it from the side, you can't quite see what I'm doing anymore. But it's a distraction for us because we feel like essentially there's a camera right over our shoulder, and we certainly understand they're not zooming in on what we're doing. But I think we've already seen that once they make these images and they pass them around, I mean, they're well-made cameras, and somebody else could presumably do that. And so that causes us quite a bit of concern as well. So if the court decides that removal of the camera isn't necessary, we do have, I think, a bigger concern of just making sure that they're set someplace where we don't have images that are really just what we're working on during the case. And I don't really have much else to the court, unless the court has questions for me.
Well, I have one comment or question, because in one of your briefs, I know I've had two sequences of briefs because we had this earlier, but this was a newer one where you were saying, well, this is a quote, were it only the kind of cameras used to show the workings on the House floor on C-SPAN.
I may be showing my age. They might have better cameras now, but when I was
I'm sure
younger, it was just this camera like way over there.
Yeah, well, that's the point. I mean, I made me think about that, is just plant a camera up there. If everybody can just see what's happening from the back of the courtroom, maybe that can satisfy everybody just partly.
That was kind of my idea, Judge. That was my suggestion. And I feel like somebody's going to throw a tomato at me, but that, I thought, might be a way to kind of give a little and just kind of protect what we're trying to protect.
I've never seen anything very sensational on C-SPAN.
And that's literally what I was thinking.
Yeah,
although Newt Gingrich got pretty close to me.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, are we going to Mr. Rudley now? Yeah, Ms. Olson gets at the end of that, and then I'll go back to the parties. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. As we previously discussed, the decision of whether to allow cameras in the courtroom is discretionary for the court. The state outlined our concerns with allowing cameras in our responsive brief and in our June 6th briefing. Primarily, those concerns are preserving the right to a fair and impartial trial for all the parties, protecting sensitive witnesses who will testify at hearings and trial in this case, and safeguarding evidence, which is the graphic nature. We agree that the media plays an important role in the court process, and we appreciate in their briefing the measures that they identify to address some of our concerns for protecting vulnerable witnesses or evidence which is of a graphic nature that they've done in previous cases. However, our contention is that the safest way and best way to address all of these concerns is to prohibit cameras in the courtroom, or in the alternative, prohibit cameras when sensitive or vulnerable witnesses are testifying or there's evidence being viewed that's of a graphic nature. And I'll stand for questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Olson.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I think, legally, we're where we were 3 months ago with respect to what the rule the court has to consider in terms of whether to continue to allow cameras in the courtroom, and that's Idaho Court Administrative Rule 45. And I think, Your Honor, when we read through that rule, it really addresses the concerns that the parties have raised to this court about what the court's discretion is, about what it can, how it can direct cameras, where they're to be in the courtroom, all of those things, that it can restrict camera coverage when there is a particularly sensitive witness. And I think, Your Honor, what you saw in the declarations that we submitted, the declaration of Rebecca Boone and the declaration of Grace Long, is that these are journalists who are experienced in covering court cases, and in covering court cases where there are cameras, both video cameras and still cameras, and following the court's admonitions about what can be covered and what can't be covered. And I think, particularly, Your Honor, with respect to Ms. Boone's declaration, and Ms. Boone, who is a graduate of the University of Idaho's journalism program, who continues to be an advisor to that program, and who certainly would have not only the best interests of her employer at heart, but she understands this community. I mean, her experience has been that when you have these pool cameras, both still and video, and when you allow camera coverage to the extent that you can, it better serves the public, and it helps ameliorate the kind of media scrum is probably not the term that my clients would want us to use, but the sort of that big gaggle of journalists who accumulate outside of the courtroom when there is no opportunity to be inside the courtroom, when you don't get the opportunity to have that full procedure. So I think the court can use Idaho Court Administrative Rule 45 and craft a solution that continues to allow the journalists who are working hard to cover this case to be able to do so in a way that both allows them to provide really a first-hand account of what's going on. And again, Your Honor, I don't think we can underestimate the importance of that first-hand video account as well, because we're just in this day and age where people are used to seeing things firsthand. There's cameras everywhere. To be able to really have great confidence in the proceedings, I think it's important for the court to allow some sort of in-courtroom camera coverage of the proceedings. People are going to need to be able to see firsthand for themselves how the evidence is presented, how they want to see the rulings at court meetings. They can learn a lot from that in a way that they can't learn from people who then are in the courtroom and they go set up outside and they talk about what happened. And so I think, that's a good reason to continue the policy that the court has had. And then I think, Your Honor, with all due respect to Mr. Lawson, I just don't think there are the violations of the things that the court said at the outset of the June 27th hearing. Now, I was not here. I read about it in the attachment that Mr. Lawson made to his initial, or the reference Mr. Lawson made to his initial pleading in this round. And my reading of that, Your Honor, it's actually in a Fox News story, is that the court said, and of course the court said it, so I'm sure the court's memory of it is the best, but that the court made a comment that the court should, of course I'm having a hard time.
Back up. That's one of the things I said.
Yeah, okay.
It was just focusing
right.
Too much in particular areas, and so I was just cautioning the media to step back, and they have pushed the envelope. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, Your Honor, I think what the media heard on that occasion, as reported by Fox News, was that the cameras needed to show a wide shot of the courtroom and not focus strictly on Mr. Kohberger. And I think that phrase, focus strictly on Mr. Kohberger, has clearly been interpreted to mean you can still take pictures of Mr. Kohberger, but he's not the only one you should be taking pictures of. And there's certainly a limitation in print media or the online stories. I mean, you don't always have video. So what I've seen, and I think that the examples we provided to the court, where there were pictures of lots of different participants in the courtroom, and they're trying to show everybody. And if the direction from the court is instead, look, there can be no single pictures of Mr. Kohberger, the challenge is, and I think even Rule 45 says this, there are some limits on how much the court can tell the editors and everything, because they're not here in the courtroom, and some of those people may still choose to crop out just a little bit of that picture. And Your Honor, I don't think that runs afoul of what the court has in mind. I think that what you've seen is an attempt by the journalists who are here in court to show a wider shot. And then as we wrote in our brief, from that courtroom angle there, I mean, it's I think I said it's not a football field. It's hard to get sort of the full perspective where the camera is sitting right there. If there's a way to station the camera at the very back of the courtroom, maybe, but those are also the things, and if you saw this in Ms. Wong's declaration, the court TV people have a lot of experience working with courts and trying to find the best way to both serve the purpose of having cameras in the courtroom and being able to present to the public the proceedings as they occur, and also not be obtrusive, not cause noise, not run afoul of the court's admonition to focus in on any particular individual. So they are more than willing to work with the court to do that. They just ask to be continued to be in the courtroom, because I think when we look at the full media coverage, they haven't run afoul of that admonition. There are certainly still individual pictures of Mr. Kohberger, but that will continue to happen regardless, Your Honor.
Well, sure. I mean, in some ways, it kind of misses the point, because it's the sensationalist sort of spectacle that is concerning. And from one of your, the declaration from TV or
Court TV.
Court TV. I looked through all the cases that they filmed, and some of those you could question whether that was a very dignified way to have a trial. And the classic is O.J. Simpson. So they're saying, oh, this is great. This is great work we did, filming this. But if anybody watched any part of that case, it was a circus. So that is one of the concerns. In this particular case, we have a lot of interest, and we have a lot of people that you can't control, that your clients can't control, and they are putting out stuff that is harmful. It's harmful for the case, for this case, for the process to have a dignified trial. That's my worry, and that's my job. So when I have been talking to the media, just kind of, can you back off a little bit? Because I've been very accommodating, and I just start feeling like, can I really trust them to do the right thing? And it's not necessarily the camera people, okay? It's where that film goes, and how it is manipulated, and how people are, commentators, how they talk about it, okay? How they explain it. And a lot of times it is not very accurate. And I don't watch all this stuff, but I've watched enough to see that how disinformation, misinformation is pumped out there, along with the images and with the films. So how do we deal with that? It's not the same media now than it was 10 years ago with social media, for example. I can't control that. You can't control that. I understand that. I mean, it's going to happen anyway. All I wish is that everybody had a little more respect for what we're doing here, because it's not entertainment. It's a tragic issue, okay? And that is what is disturbing to me, personally.
Your Honor, if I may, I understand all of that completely. I have been in Mr. Thompson's shoes in a very disturbing, heinous murder case, with a lot of the pressures that go with that, and dealing with victims and victims' families, and that is a very challenging position to be in. And being able to, I think, Your Honor, having worked in the criminal justice system far longer than I've been in the position I'm in now, I think that in this media day and age, having cameras in the courtroom so that people can see what the proceedings are all about. And so there's at least a source out there that says, this is what happened. And if there was not that, that makes it much easier for the people who are going to disseminate disinformation, for the talking heads who aren't going to be respectful of the process to do that. Because then there's none of the actual footage from the trial that responsible media outlets and responsible consumers of information and responsible online people will be able to get access to. I think, Your Honor, the answer is not less sunshine, it's more. I don't think we can afford to abandon to whoever the guy on X or Twitter was that cut out a portion of one photograph of Mr. Kohberger, and then was glad that he got some call-out by Mr. Logsdon in his motion. I don't think we can afford to abandon how this case is portrayed visually to those individuals, and instead, frankly, of having pictures in the court, then you just get all the pictures of people going, in and out of the courthouse. But you're going to have the same content, Your Honor. The way to battle misinformation is to provide the accurate information, and the accurate information is what happens inside this courtroom with the cameras positioned in a place that provides the best, most overall perspective of the courtroom, and if there are sensitive witnesses, then the court can give direction and the media will follow that you don't get to film those witnesses. The rule provides you don't get to film the jurors. There are all sorts of sensitivities built into ICAR 45, and the media would ask the court to use those tools rather than saying, no, we are not going to allow cameras in the courtroom, we're not going to allow video in the courtroom, because then you just don't get that accurate picture that they can portray out there. And Your Honor, I do think, with all due respect to the comments that Mr. Logsdon made in his reply brief, the members of the media who are in this coalition, who I think are covering this trial, who I think includes the news editor from the Daily Argonaut, from the student newspaper at the university, they are here because they think it's an important public service to cover the proceedings in a criminal matter of such importance to the university, to this community, and I think, Your Honor, really to the state of Idaho. And as I recall from my comments when we were here in June, this case has affected people all over the state. There are young people who were students at the university that I know who were affected by what happened. And having some ability to understand the proceedings and to get the closure will be important to them, Your Honor. And I think this court, this court accomplishes much more by allowing the cameras to stay in the courtroom and giving them firm guidance and working with them than it does to send them outside. Where, if you want to see spectacle, see the 40 cameras set up outside of the courtroom, and every time someone walks out, they sort of get ganged up on. That, I think, Your Honor, is spectacle. With respect to the O.J. Simpson trial, which is, I think, one of the first sort of highly covered ones, I think the point of that one was to, look, you can have camera coverage of these cases, and the person, it's still possible for them to get acquittal. It's not prejudicial in terms of guilt or innocence to have cameras in the courtroom. But I think everybody learned a lot from that trial. It certainly didn't reflect well on poor Judge Ito. It didn't really reflect very well on the prosecutors. There are things that may have been playing to the camera because of that. But I think we all learned a lot from that, Your Honor. And hopefully, then changes can be made about where the cameras can be positioned. And there's part of it's the responsibility of the participants in the courtroom, not to adjust their behavior for the cameras. I don't see Bill Thompson, the late Tahoe County prosecutor, years and years and years adjusting his approach, or Mr. Nye, or the others who are working on this, because there are cameras in the courtroom. I know Ms. Massoff, I don't know these lawyers as well. I know Ms. Massoff is not going to adjust her performance in the courtroom, and she's going to do everything she can for that client, and I trust these lawyers will too, regardless of whether there are cameras in the courtroom. And I think, Your Honor, the public and this community will be best served by having those cameras in the courtroom and making sure that the guidelines that the court wants to put in place are there, and that there's this firm understanding by members of the media that they will follow that. And I just think it's just not true that that the people who we represent and the people who are in this courtroom today are here to make a spectacle of this proceeding. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Olson. So I just I hope I sent out a message to the media and everybody else that please have patience, be respectful, and be decent. That's what I want. So, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, any response to any of that, Mr. Logsdon? You don't have to.
I guess not really sure where to go with that one, but obviously nobody's talking about throwing the media out of the courtroom or making the case so dark. I wouldn't want that. After all, I think the public definitely plays a very big role in making sure that we all do our jobs right. We're just talking about the images that are coming out of this. It sounds like the court, here's where we're coming from. I don't think I have a whole lot more to add to that. Thanks, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Redley?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, thank you all. I think it's a very interesting, really kind of powerful issue that is a benefit and also potentially a harm. And that there's a lot of balancing that will go into this consideration. Of course, I am especially sensitive to the parties of the case. I saw Mr. Thompson kind of smile a little bit about, there were in a lot of these cases where they were sensationalized and heavily filmed and talked about. The defendants were acquitted, and so therefore that proves that they got a fair trial. Well, we want trials to be balanced for both sides, and I don't know if I was reading your mind a little bit about that, Mr. Thompson, but it can tilt. It can tilt a case one way or the other if the media is trying the case in the media. And we don't want that because that's not based on evidence. That's not based on the rules of the court. And it can get out of control. And I think some of those cases that were cited in the declaration, Court TV, personnel, are kind of seeing it one way. And they have a certain job to do. I understand that, but some of those cases, in my opinion, kind of spun out of control, and that based on the media and how heavily it was covered. So that's my worry. I'm going to figure it out and try to do the right thing for both the public and the parties and the rule of law. So with that, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
Okay, so he's thinking it over. He has to make a decision. It will probably come in the next couple days. Mr. Kohberger is going to go hang that suit up again and get back to where he's at. There we go. And that leaves it. What do you guys think? I like some of the arguments that the media coalition lawyer presented. I think this is a First Amendment right, very much so. Although the judge under, I think it's Idaho Rule 45, has authority under state law to limit, the use of cameras in the courtroom. But the purposes he's supposed to do it for are for situations where there's sensitive testimony from witnesses, so you have children testifying. Obviously, that would be excluded. He can limit it for pictures, graphic nature of pictures. But beyond that, it's really it's frustrating that it's being used for like, hey, you can't show my picture, else I won't get a fair trial. Well, if he feels that's the case, then he literally is admitting that he does not trust his jurors to follow the instructions he gives them. That he literally thinks that you go home at night and watch TV and catch up on every angle and every talking heads analysis of the court system. So that's interesting. So we're going to watch the filings, the answer, the reply to this, the decision the judge makes. That's just going to be made in a filing that's released, and he releases it to the parties. It'll be all over social media before we see anything. It probably won't happen as a hearing where he announces it. That's not going to happen. But I imagine probably in the next 10 to 15 days that answer should come. And it sounds like he's probably going to side with, because honestly, the defense did a very poor job of objecting here. And they're like, if it was only just a camera that was, like C-SPAN, and basically that's a pan-tilt zoom camera, which can sit in one position and see anywhere in the courtroom. That's cool. We're cool with that. We'd take that. I realize he probably doesn't want multiple cameras. This will probably be a trial that has a single camera view. Microphones should be okay. We should be able to tap into the audio system, the court system, and have the good mics that way. But we'll be watching the whole court from the back row, basically, is how it's going. Anyway, he did say if it was only just, like one camera in back, there's an overview. And we're like, we'll take that. We'll take that. We don't need like the close-ups that Court TV was offering of Lori Vallow's face, so you can see, which eye is starting to tear up as things are. We don't need that sort of sensationalism. I'm trying to fix my camera here while I'm working, and it's not working, so I'm down to just one angle here. And maybe it'll work. We'll see. Nope, just crashed. All right. It's turning on and off by itself right now. We have another case we want to catch up to. I realize the Murdoch hearing is beginning. Let me show you a little bit what I'm dealing with. In this hearing that we just heard from the BK case, the audio was awful. We had a huge air conditioner running, just like a turbo fan in the background. As I always do, I try to improve the audio as best I can so you can hear what's going on. The problem we have in the Murdoch trial is that it appears that the case was recorded on a potato, and it's sitting in the corner under a sack of old burlap bags or something. I don't know. It was poor positioning of this microphone, and there's just one of them, is my understanding right now. So let me show you what they're dealing with right there, and I'll let you hear just for a minute. Let's see. Let's go to camera 3. Yes, I need to be able to turn the mic on. Where's that audio? Here we go.
And it's at least a 2-week or 3-week trial. Mr. Griffin has an additional conflict.
So this is the audio, how it sounds right now.
October 3rd.
Let's see if I can improve it for a second.
I guess this is September. It looks like most of October is going to be involved either getting ready for or trying that case. Wouldn't be done until early in November. And Your Honor, it's going to take some time to get ready for these cases. But more importantly, maybe this is the toughest thing I have to say, and that is this. This case was finished 6 months ago. It clearly, I don't think anyone disputes, has had more publicity than any case in the history of this state, and maybe the country. On national television every day for 6 weeks, the motions motions hearings were covered, and they're here again today. It has been podcasted, blogged. We've got podcasters out there who are ripping their 15 minutes, hanging by their fingernails, wanting more of their 15 minutes of fame, and continue to talk about this. I understand one of the solutions.
So this is about the best I can make it right now.
Massive pretrial publicity is a change of venue. There are 2 cases I want to cite to the court, both of the United States Supreme Court cases. Murphy versus Florida.
Anyway, so we're gonna bail on this one. They're talking about. They're talking about all sorts of fun stuff. We're not going to follow this one yet. So I can do a little bit to improve that audio, but it's a struggle. The struggle is real, too. The other thing I want to cut to first, before we do that, is a very short video. We have James and Cynthia, who are our dynamic duo, this older couple that were busted on shoplifting. We found them when we were court hopping as we jump around from little small courtrooms that are broadcast on Zoom all over the country every single day. We found them for their first appearance and have followed them pretty much at every single step along the way. There's like 5 or 6 appearances or hearings that happen between arraignment or your first appearance before the judge and the sentencing, and we're all the way to sentencing. So we have the sentence today. I want to offer that up for you guys right now. If you'll give me just 1 minute to get it on the right screen. Okay, we're still not getting anything from Daryl Brooks. It's we're not getting a feed from Milwaukee Branch 10, and they might not be offering that today. So where's the video here? There it is. So we're going to listen really quickly as I get ready here for, this is the appearance. And this is Judge Cedric Simpson. And we're just wrapping up the previous case right before him right now.
65 days in jail, credit 11, balance suspended. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll cut to the video here.
Thank you.
Court calls the case, People versus Cynthia Pearson.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perry on behalf of Miss Cynthia Pearson. Miss Pearson, can you unmute and state your name for the record, please?
Cynthia Pearson.
Okay, do you have a camera, ma'am?
It says start my video. Should I do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, there they are. Okay. You want me to start my video? Okay.
This will be quick here.
I made them do it, so I'll do it. Okay. All right. All right. Go ahead on Miss Pearson's case.
Miss, Your Honor, we did review the pre-sentence investigation report and the recommendation as per the sentence. The only change on the report, I believe under the sentence recommendation, it says for restitution to be paid jointly with Cynthia Pearson. It should instead say jointly with James Pearson.
James Pearson. Okay. Got it.
Correct. But other than that, no changes, additions, or deletions, and we would ask that you adopt the recommendation.
All right. Ms. Pearson, anything you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
No, sir.
All right. Place you on the prosecutor's deferred sentence for a period of 4 months. I'll order $480 fines and court costs, $120 probation oversight fees, $903.87 restitution to Costco. That's joint and severally with co-defendant James Pearson, payable through the court. When can you pay all of that, ma'am?
What do you need?
That's
how do you do it?
We can pay it immediately.
Okay. I'll put that you'll pay today, but you might have to wait till later before you call the court. The restitution has to be paid in cash. Okay.
Okay.
Can you use a debit card?
Right. You can use a debit card for the fines and cost and probation fees, but restitution actually needs to be cash to the court.
Okay.
So you have to go in person then?
Yes, I'd suggest that. Okay. There's to be no use of alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal substance. You'll be subject to random testing as requested by probation. You're to complete a theft class within 60 days. No going to any Costco store in the state of Michigan. I'll set a review hearing on this matter for January 10th, 2024 at 9 a.m. I'll order 93 days in jail. That is suspended. Okay. Thank you.
So January 4th is review, $1,500 fine, and no Costco for 4 months.
James Pearson.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Assistant Public Defender Lauren Perry on behalf of Mr. James Pearson. Mr. Pearson, can you state your name for the record, please?
James Pearson.
Your Honor, I did review the PSI with Mr. Pearson. We have no changes, additions, or deletions, and would ask the judge or the court to adopt the recommendation.
All right. Mr. Pearson, anything you want to say before I impose sentence?
No, sir.
All right. Sentence of the court, 4 months prosecutor deferred sentence. You're to pay $480 fines and costs, $120 probation oversight fees, $903.87 restitution to Costco. That's joint and severally with co-defendant Cynthia Pearson. That is payable through the court. And when can you pay all of that?
Today, sir.
All right. Thank you. There is to be no use of alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal substance. You'll be subject to random testing as requested by probation. You are to complete a theft class. You're to do that within 60 days. No going to any Costco store in the state of Michigan. I'll set a review hearing January 10th, 2024 at 9 a.m. I'll order 93 days in jail. That is suspended. All right. Thank you. And, you know, my staff is upset you guys didn't dress alike. But I'm not going to get into it.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you, folks.
How do you do a theft class?
Theft.
I mean, how do you do a theft class?
What do you say?
How do you do a theft class?
How do you do a theft class? You can talk to Miss Polera about that. She'll get you guys set up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You two take care of each other, please.
Thanks.
Court calls the case. People versus.
That ends that one. So that's the no jail time. No jail time for James and Cynthia. When this first began, we were worried that they got caught up in something. It seems there's more to the story behind them. They have a jewelry business. And they sell jewelry, and apparently they may have been acquiring jewelry to sell. That's the understanding of how it may have gone down. Theft class, actually the fees are going to be a little higher if you look at them jointly, because the individual court fees are they're individual. The joint, the restitution is just $900. That's between the two of them. So add another roughly $600 to the fees. It puts it up to about $2,100 total. It's a little spendy. Crime doesn't pay. That's how about just don't steal, says CIM. Agreed, but now they can't go to Costco for 4 months, which I'm not sure if that's the worst penalty, or if the $2,100. I wish I could go to Costco. We don't have one close by me here. We have a Sam's Club instead, but some people live by going to Costco. All right, so that was the update. We need to find out how to contact James and Cynthia, because they don't even realize they have a whole fan club. We don't support the fact that they were committing crime and seem to be intentionally doing so. That's not good. We don't endorse crime on this channel. We do like the judge, and we like that he can interact with the people that made some poor decisions, and hopefully will not make them again, and watching and learning from that. What on earth is a theft class? MMM, it's either a how-to, which is possible. It could be a how-to class, or it's a please don't do this type class. I got my camera working just now. Nobody breathe on it or anything. It's holding perfect still. Got to aim it. Just 1 second. I dropped it. That was my fault. My bad. And I broke it, by the way. Hey, look at this, guys. Look at this. Whew. We have a camera. It's not quite set up perfectly, but it's there. It's working. Okay, it's a little bit better. Now you don't have box inside a box. All right. I feel better. Camera's working. Let's see. Originally, we thought they fell on hard times, right? If they had been stealing, it would be like a Les Mis type situation. If you're stealing bread to survive, I look at that differently. It is still wrong, right? It's still wrong, but I look at that differently. I look at that in a much lighter way than if you're stealing jewelry to sell it for your store. So we're not happy with the decision they made, but at the same time, yeah, nobody moved, nobody breathed on it, and then I dropped it. But it still worked. It still worked, at least for now. I may have to replace this camera. I've had it for many years, and it's this isn't the one. I think I owned this camera when I was filming knights that were jousting, like dressed up, big war horses, armor, the lance, everything. And we're trying to get a good shot, and the producer just wasn't very creative. And I said, why don't we have a GoPro mounted on one of the knights? And I'm like, well, I didn't bring a camera. I'm like, I've got one in my car, and I grabbed it, and I also had the mount to attach it to a lance. And so I literally attached the GoPro onto the lance. So when you're looking up at the sky, staring down the lance, and as they start riding towards each other, the lance comes down, and you're looking right at the horse, and you just film it going right into the guy's shield. Oh man, it destroyed the camera, but the memory card survived, the video survived, and it was epic. And they bought me a new camera. So anyway, that was not relevant, but I do that a lot. No, my shirt is not ripped. It is ventilated. It has these mesh backing that allows it to breathe. It's a fishing shirt. I love these. I wear quite a few of them. This is a short sleeve blue. I've got the long sleeve blue in this color. I've got a long sleeve blue in a darker color, short and long sleeve in gray. I pretty much just cycle through the same shirts because they're so comfortable. Get an Axum 3 chest camera 360. That would be fun. That was before the 360 cameras weren't really out when I did that. That was years ago. GoPro makes a pipe mount. It's for mounting on all sorts of gear, pipes or something like that, posts, pipes, and that works just fine. All right, let's see. RL241 says, this is the first court case discussion I'll be watching with you. I found you like many more during the prisoner escape. Now I'm an addict. I'll be with you every workday while I listen and work. That sounds great. Thank you so much. It's I'm glad we could introduce you to the world of true crime. This is it's an interesting place to reside. I will say some days it's hard. Some days we literally are listening to audio that is painful, recorded in a interrogation room over a 12-hour period, and we're listening in real time as you basically have a stalemate of somebody who doesn't want to talk and someone else who does want them to talk, and you're just listening to no progress for hours and hours. And other days we're on the edge of our seats, just like, did you hear what they just said? And you get the full mix, and the emotions go up and down. A lot of times the facts of the case, whether frequently it's a murder trial. Sometimes it has some elements that are unfortunately all too familiar to some of the people who are in chat. So they can, I don't like using the word triggering, but they can definitely bring up a lot of emotions in people where it says, hey, this hits really close to home for me. And so because of that, because we're mindful of that, we try to be respectful about almost everything. I won't say I'm perfect to that. I do sort of make light of it. And listening to the judge today in the BK hearing that happened yesterday, I don't think he would be very happy with me playing. Let's see, what would it be? This. During the opening statements of the Mark Jensen trial, as they are describing this man who murdered his wife as being such a sad person, and how sad he was at her passing. He wouldn't be a fan of that, but so I do push the envelope a little bit. We try to be respectful. We could do a couple things now. We have a couple papers. They're not like letters. They're not letters from Sarah Boone, but we have a couple filings from Sarah Boone's case that I wanted to discuss briefly, just to keep you up to date with where we're at there. The most interesting, as you know, Sarah Boone has a new lawyer. Her last lawyer, Mr. Frank J. Bankowitz, has asked the second time to be removed from her case. He was like her fifth or sixth lawyer. They've been removed for various reasons. They have conflict of interest, just not been able to get along with the client. They'd previously represented the decedent in a case against her. They have a conflict. One of the witnesses is one of their current clients. Just a whole bunch of reasons why she's been through all these attorneys. And now she has a new public defender. And the first paperwork that was filed here, actually, the new public defender hasn't said a thing yet. We don't know if he's even got a conflict, if he's available. We'll hear something from him soon, probably here in the next month. Right now, the state just barely filed something. And let me show you. Actually, I need to get rid of this video because it's going to take up too much space. Okay, the state filed this document, and this is an interesting one. Getting it full screen. Just give me 2 seconds here. And I have to give a shout out to Greeners who went full document hound on this and let me know right away when this was happening. Let's see, view, turn off the let's see, show full screen. Okay, well, this will be close enough here. Just 1 second. Okay, so camera 3. This filing right here is a notice of provisional supplemental discovery. Okay, this is that the prosecution has to give information to the defense that may be helpful to them in their defense. If they investigate anything and they find something that's like, whoa, this actually might lean towards him being found not guilty, or be pertinent to that fact. Hey, buddy, can you get the door again? Oh, we have a visitor. That's why the door's open. We have a visitor. Zoe is here. Zoe is back. How are you doing, Zoe? It's been a few days. Anyway, this document. Hey there. Zoe's my guest puppy. I don't think she wants to be up. I think she wants to be down underneath by my feet. There we go. Anyway, the document has to be turned over. So basically, the state has come across something that is that might be of interest to the defense, and here it is. They have to present it to the court. They say, just for the record, here it is, and it says comes out of the state of Florida, meaning it comes from the prosecution, by and through the undersigned assistant state attorney, pursuant to Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 3.220 and Brady versus Maryland. Okay, this is a potential Brady violation if they didn't bring this through. And hereby serves as notice the existence of the following information. Chelsea E. Cospel is a witness in this prosecution. And Chelsea E. Cospel is under investigation by the Orange County Sheriff's Office for Professional Standards Section for matters related to unsatisfactory performance. Now, I don't know exactly who Chelsea is, but if she's a prosecutor for the state, or if she's a witness for the state, and she's been under investigation for the Orange County Sheriff's Office by matters related to unsatisfactory performance, she probably works for the Orange County Sheriff's Office in some capacity. And this could be a police officer who responded to the scene, who filed a report, who participated in an interrogation, who it could be any of the employees that handled, processed, analyzed evidence, anything along the chain of command or the chain of custody for evidence like that. And so remember this name, because in court this will come up. This is one of those freebies that are handed to the defense to say, hey, jump all over this, because you might be able to get evidence thrown out if this person is proven to have done something wrong. Say, for instance, and I'm not insinuating that anything has happened here. Chelsea might be completely above board and found that even though the investigation found there was nothing wrong in what she did. And that may be the case. But if there is something wrong, and if this investigation into her unsatisfactory performance comes back and says, yeah, you were literally lying on the evidence. You said you were doing something and you didn't do it, or you intentionally swapped the numbers, or you turned in results that were not accurate on purpose. If there's anything like that in the report, anything she touches is poisoned. Any evidence that she handled is poisoned, because now there's not the chain of custody where you can say, look how pristine and pure this evidence is. It was maintained and kept. It was literally in the hands of somebody with nefarious intent, and then it's gone. So what could that include? It could include toxicology reports, if there was anything taken, any tests from bottles, or basically almost any evidence that can be tampered with. And almost all evidence can be. Hey, catch the door. Thank you. Love you. Any evidence that can be tampered with, if she touched it, and this investigation to her background reveals something that was bad, could be thrown out. So this is a huge, huge win, and might be the biggest thing that defense has in their corner going into this case. Anyway, that's there. I've got to watch where Zoe is before I move my chair. All right. What else do we have? If they toss that interview, the state has nothing. Was she the interviewer? I don't remember. I'd have to go back and listen to the interview. Was she the detective lady? I don't think that was her. See, they have the video. Yeah, it's not going to be. It won't get rid of that, and that's one of the evidences that is sort of protected, because it's a video, a file format. They have the original hardware. This isn't someone going in and re-editing a video to have different content on it. What did Cynthia and James do to get arrested? They got caught shoplifting from jewelry from Costco, is my belief. About $900 worth of jewelry. Danny says, Lost Souls Paranormal is a professional thief. She stole my heart. The video is all they need. It is a lot, but we'll see how the defense handles this. Are you showing the Brooks hearing? I'm not seeing the Brooks hearing. Is somebody else seeing a feed for that? The Brooks hearing should be in Milwaukee Circuit Court, Branch 10, to my understanding, and that feed has not come live. So it may be a news outlet that's there, but I haven't seen where that's at. Mike W. says, because of Recovery Addict, I'm so invested into U.S. true crime, and I'm buying legal law books to better understand U.S. court cases. Also, thanks to my husband's credit card and Amazon. Thank you. That's awesome. You can find almost anything on Amazon. I'm glad you're interested in the law, though. It is fun, even if you don't, pursue a career in this field, which I have not done. I have a huge interest, even ever since I was a kid. I mean, other kids were checking out, fantasy books in the library, and I was asking for the huge binder full of court records, the court copy of the Ted Bundy trial, and I guess I was a weird kid. Okay. See Topsol's guide message about new case. Let's catch that. Let's see. Where's Topsol? Sent a possible case to investigate for later consideration. One of the convicted, I believe, was in someone else's same name and wrote me several times on exoneration work. I will look for that. You sent it to the burner phone or to the email? That was supposed to stream at 8:30 Central Time, and it never did, said Beth. So what probably happened here, Beth, and we've seen this in other courtrooms. There are many courts that always stream their cases on their own YouTube or a publicly available Zoom channel. Judge Doro is one of those. And so when you start with the Darrell Brooks trial, if you go back to the very beginning, you'll find video that's very much a Zoom window being filmed, and that's what the judge put out, was that window. But as the news came in and took over and offered higher quality pictures and audio, they stopped transmitting that and just said, well, you've already got it covered. We'll keep our copy for our record, but we're not going to put out the whole video. So that could be the case with Darrell Brooks right now, because it still is not live. In scanning for a picture today, though, let me show you something. This is also almost not relevant. I found I had a picture of spicy maple bourbon pickles, which are my favorite pickles. And if you've never tried them, this is what they look like. They're usually on the top shelf in Walmart. Please give them a try, and if you like them, call Walmart and tell them that they need to send me some pickles, or sponsor the show or something in the form of pickles. I accept pickles as payment for sponsorship. But anyway, that's all. Yummy pickles, and they're a little spicy, just for the record. Tops will come back soon. We'll see you later. I didn't catch your farewell message. Oh, there it is. Pretty sure I have a photo of one or two on my phone. We'll text a burner to gauge interest. Sounds good. We like to look at these cases. I will say that I have to do a lot of investigation before I take a case, usually. The difference is the Murdoch trial. I don't have to do the same amount of investigation, because the judge down there, Judge Newman, literally issued an order, a standing order, which is still standing, that all the media participating in that are not allowed to copyright the video. Literally, anybody can use the video from the Murdoch trial. Is that the order is still on the page, still on their court page, as still standing for this. So I have to be careful, make sure I use, I'm either admitted in the media pool or something like that, or have permission from someone who has a source. If I don't, I can still use it, but I have to change the way I present things to make sure I fall fairly within the fair use rule of the copyright law. I have not, great question, Jamie. We have never heard back on the Angela trial videos. They literally have not responded to me. And there's no method to really track that down other than file another request. But I was searching for responses yesterday. I still have not gotten anything on that. Let's see, do you have that printed in wallet size to put with your kids' photos? No, I got the full 3x5, and by that I mean 3 foot by 5 foot version to put on the wall. Orange County Sheriff Detective Chelsea Cospel. Did she do the interrogation? Is that legal, ghosting a FOIA? FOIA is Freedom of Information Act, and that's a common term that's used in mostly among the press for people that are requesting a copy of a public document or a copy of a video that's being held by a government agency of some sort. Zoe's full on growling at me. Do you want to go out? You want to go out, Zoe? You want to go out? There you go. There you go. I'm not sure why she's growling at me, but maybe she sees the ghost that comes in the room occasionally. Yes, I have a hard time with food that isn't peeled. You know, you don't eat the peel of a banana, right? Now I know you don't eat the peel of a mango, and I learned last night that you shouldn't have the peel of an onion in your blooming onion. All right, I'm terrible at typing and not an expert. You do great, Evangeline Light. Thank you so much. I do have a P.O. box, Mandy. If you type !address, it should respond with that. I will tell you, my poor... I use Lumia Stream to respond to these commands, and so the sound effects and everything else that get played are Lumia Stream commands. And I reached out to Lumia Stream yesterday and said, "Look, I've got a situation. I use these in my live stream. And it helps a ton to spread information, so I don't have to so the mods don't have to retype something or copy and paste answers to questions that are frequently asked." And I said, We've had several thousand people in chat for the last several days, and Lumia Stream is just crashing. It can't keep up with the 13,000 people we had in chat. So I'm trying to find a best practice of how to do that. Do we want to go back and watch now that we've covered these three things? Do you want to go back and watch the case with Murdoch, if we can? Let's see, where's he at? Where did I put him? Just 1 minute here. We'll see. I want to hear a little bit. I want to hear a little bit about the arguments that are being presented here, because they interest me just a little bit, and we currently do not have a case to watch. I know there's another one that's starting in Florida. The sound is terrible. I'm going to try to improve it as best I can. We'll try to take out the rough noise and boost the levels a little bit. Crusoe, 4 months. Thank you so much. Good to have you here. You've been great to have here in chat. Appreciate your input. I'm not a cat. Let's see. Maybe I missed it, but have we had the chance to party and celebrate crossing the 40K milestone? Congrats, friend. We blew the party horn a couple times, but it was during the manhunt, and I didn't think it would be appropriate to literally be celebrating while people were afraid to sleep because there was a murder in their neighborhood. And so we didn't do a full party, but we did this last week cross both the 30,000 and the 40,000 milestones, which has been incredible. No time like the present. Let's see. Here we go. I'll do the party sound. Is that it? There's the party sound. I blew the horn for everybody. I owe you a party horn, says Cachette. Yeah, it was super exciting. This is a fun community to see grow. Mostly because so many people come in and we just become friends so quickly, and it's like the family we didn't know we had, and it's a blast that way. I love it. I'm gonna try to work on this audio for Judge Newman. If I can't get it fixed, we're gonna bail. I don't want to give anybody a headache, and watching court that is just painful like that. We try to do that as little as possible. But let's bring in what we have initially and see where we can take it with the audio. Let's see here.
work on it. We tried a murder case 2 weeks ago in Spartanburg that was a 27.
That's pretty bad.
Almost every case that I have scheduled between now and the end of the year is over the and several of them that I have are also with the Attorney General's office. Whether they call them, schedule them or not is up to them, not up to me. What I foresee them doing is trying to assert that they're ready, willing, and able to go. They'd love to do it in the spring. They just want me to waive my legislative immunity. Which, Your Honor, for the record, I'd happily do if they waive their ability to call cases whenever they get ready. If they waive their ability to only work on one case solely. We don't have that ability. The case that Mr. Arpulian and Mr. Griffith spoke of earlier in federal court in December, I have a similarly situated co-defendant. Their client is actually at trial. Mine is not, but possibly scheduled for that same week because it's the same facts.
Not the week of November 27th.
Not the week of November 27th.
Okay.
And as they have already stated, that week is reserved for the case that they decide to call, which involves the Satterfields, not the case that is connected to our client. And so that's what they chose to do. They have not told us exactly which case they choose to proceed on. And during the break, he said that's up to him as to which case he's going to proceed on and when. And it is, unless he's willing to waive that. Until that point, Your Honor, 41,000 documents. There's a transcript that goes for 2.5 weeks in federal court, all of which there is no way that any lawyer could be prepared on between now and the end of the year if they're going to do their client a service so that the state can have justice. Justice at what cost, I'm not really sure. I know that there are victims in other cases that are awaiting their date. I was in court yesterday on a 2016 case and had to answer to Judge Colville as to why the case was so old. Well, this is the reason why cases get old. Prosecutors get to decide when they call it. They get to decide when they get their foot on the gas and stay there and demand that a case that was indicted in April of 22 now must go to trial before the end of the year, pushing aside every other case that is much older for an individual that has already been convicted and sentenced and got his designation in federal court. There is absolutely no reason, Your Honor, we would assert, for this case to move forward, and if so, it would require for a December date that I not be present during JMSC for the entire month where we're screening, I believe, almost 100 candidates for judicial seats. There's no way to do that and prepare for this. My schedule, Mr. Moore's schedule, the attorneys that work for us, getting together with Mr. Lafitte, it would require what the state already has the ability to do, which is put everything to the side and work on what they want to. We don't have that ability. When they waive that and give that up, I will give up my immunity. They will not, I will not. And that is why I believe that a trial date placing us in the fall is reasonable. Fall of 24 is reasonable given the factual circumstances in this case.
Wow. Fighting like kids.
One other comment is, if Mr. Lafitte's federal appeal is unsuccessful and his conviction and sentence is upheld, then he may have decisions to make about these cases that might not require a trial. And so I tell Your Honor that because I don't think anyone wants to go through a trial and put taxpayers to that extent if necessary. And I tell Your Honor that because I think I'll. Okay.
All right, Mr. Waters.
Your Honor, as to Mr. Rutherford's comments, he knows full well, of course, that when he's talking about cases in a particular circuit of the solicitor's office, that I have no control over that. What I do have involvement in and control over is the state grand jury charges. And obviously, Your Honor has been assigned by the Chief Justice of the South Carolina Supreme Court to preside over these matters. And so that's what we're here to deal with today, not what's going on in a different circuit in some other case. Mr. Rutherford elected to get involved in this matter. I'm not unsensitive to scheduling issues, but the state is here to say that if Your Honor sets a trial date we will be ready and willing to try that case. And again, state grand jury, it's its own docket, it's its own method of going forward. What the state grand jury focuses on are cases like this that are can be complex white-collar cases, and cases that have a lot of underlying importance to the system itself. And again, my charge and the charge that was given to me by the Attorney General is to prosecute state grand jury cases, and that's what we're here to do. That's completely separate from the dockets that Mr. Rutherford may be dealing with in a different circuit elsewhere in the county and state system. So we believe that we're here, and again, he's saying that I'm calling the cases. We're here to say, Your Honor, give us a date, and we will try one of these cases. We can do the two Hampton cases together. They are similarly, they were both part of the same action. The Allendale case is a different case. That would need to be somewhere else. So if there was a case to do, it would probably be Hampton. We could do the two indictments there. But we are willing to try a case if Your Honor finds a date that works.
And Your Honor, what I would say back to that briefly is, if he wants to consolidate the Hampton cases, he didn't indict them together, I guess he'd have to make a motion to consolidate them, and then we'd have to respond. And I'm not in a position to tell Your Honor exactly what my position would be today. But I'll do whatever Your Honor tells me.
That's a huge courtroom.
Okay. Anything further?
The judge's mic is turned way too high.
At this point, I think we're done, Your Honor. But happy to answer any questions.
When do you expect to know whether Mr. Lafitte will have to report to the federal institution?
Well, as I think I told Your Honor the last time we were together, which was a couple of weeks ago in Kingsbridge, I expected to know today, and that's one of the reasons why we all talked about setting the status conference today. I expected to know today.
I think
our briefing has been concluded.
Is this the hearing after?
For several weeks now. And the Fourth Circuit
Murdoch?
is aware of the fact that Mr. Lafitte has a report date is next Thursday, a week from today. I've talked to the United States Attorney's Office about asking.
I think we're going to bail on this. It's almost done, and it's not incredibly interesting. It's going to take some research to follow that. So let's. I'll kill the audio here, and we'll go back. We'll bail on that. I think Mr. Murdoch is no longer there in the courtroom. His lawyers were walking out of the scene during that. We did see Creighton Waters, one of the prosecutors, who was there, or I think it's a DA, assistant DA. Anyway, let's see. We have Mark H. Welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much. Kansas Sunshine DJ. It says I found my happy place right here on your channel. Thank you, Kansas Sunshine. Abadi. Okay. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy jaw. Okay. I'll try it again. Kansas Sunshine DJ. There we go. Welcome. Sheena, best channel. Thank you so much. 2 months there. Congratulations on that with the new color of courthouse. So the hearing for Murdoch is talking about the financial crimes, and a lot of people are asking in chat, and I saw this. They were saying, didn't we already sit through this? And yes, we did. We already listened to almost all the evidence that will be presented in the financial crimes. Only it was brought out during his murder trial, the murder trial for his wife and son, not a financial crime. And there was a huge objection. The defense said that's not fair. You can't bring up all this stuff he did, but they said it was pertinent to the case, and it goes to motive, goes to everything else. And they did present almost all the financial crimes evidence already. So if anyone does actually sit through that entire trial, it will be like deja vu all over again as they sit through that. And the dates it's going to happen. Fun fact: if it happens soon, the Judge Newman is in his 72nd year, and in South Carolina he has to retire in the year that he turns 72. So he's got to retire soon. If it gets pushed out beyond that, I think it would be a different judge that handles it. Let's see. They're closed today due to system upgrades. So the hearing didn't happen? Did they get rescheduled? Lafayette was his partner in crime. That was the one they were talking about. I think they still are talking about it there. If we listen here.
All right. Any other words of wisdom?
I wouldn't say, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. I got plenty, but I'll say.
Well, I think we'll defer any decision about a trial date today until we can review things maybe in another month or 6 weeks or so.
Okay, so no decision yet today. They'll push it off for a month or 6 weeks, month or two. Poots brought up the clerk thing and said they needed a delay on the financial crimes because of that, and judge didn't agree and set Alex Murdoch for late November. Okay, so he wants to be over that trial. So if Murdoch goes, thanks first of all, Holly, thanks for that. Murdoch's portion of those trials is going to happen late November, so it should be done before Newman retires. It might be his last trial. We do have Stephanie Boyd live. Let me jump over there. We said we were going to court hop, and we haven't done that yet. Hold on just 1 second. Okay, so Judge Boyd, let's see, is right here.
That the pretrial office sent a violation to. So I wanted to bring that to the court's attention.
We just jumped in, so while they're talking, I'll turn the sound
left.
off for a second and tell you a little bit about this. Judge Boyd is in Bexar County, Texas. She's in the top left corner. She has incredible fashion sense and frequently brings in very high-end name brand purses and sets them in front of her vase of flowers. And they're featured prominently on her live stream, which you can see above her right shoulder there as she's facing us. So she is in courtroom. She's physically there. The individual that's talking to her in the top right hand is facing her on the other side of the bench. And then you also have some people that will zoom in as Bianca Barrera has done there at the bottom. So her courtroom is very busy. There are people walking around all over the place. She can get a little fiery at times. She's a tough judge. Sometimes she can be very generous and kind, and other times she can really lay down the law. And we've seen both. So let's listen in for a little bit. Does she have a Birkin bag? I'm not really good on the purses. I'll need you guys to tell me what those are, but let's listen in now.
She has to evaluate him for outpatient-based competency. Judge Carruthers did allow that because he had some time in custody without being transferred to the state hospital, and CHES has been seeing him. Ms. Ashley Amasquita was on earlier. She's with the Center for Healthcare and supervises the outpatient-based competency restoration, but she had to attend a screening at 9:45. So she does apologize for having to have been left off, but his case manager, Bianca Barrera, is on Zoom. I believe she can attest to him being compliant with Center for Healthcare Services.
All right, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2022 CR 9119, State of Texas versus Pierce Jones. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Ruben Herrera for the state. Renee Munoz on behalf of Pierce Jones.
And Mr. Jones is by Zoom. However, I believe his audio is not working. Defense, can you attest to that being your client?
Yes, Judge, I can attest to such.
All right. State, do you have any objection to the witness appearing by Zoom?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Then, Ms. Barrera, if you'll unmute, please. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Bianca Barrera.
All right, and how are you employed?
The Center for Healthcare Services.
All right, and is Mr. Piers Michael Jones under the umbrella of Center for Healthcare Services?
Correct.
Is he in compliance?
Yes.
All right, has he taken his medication?
Yes, he has been medication compliant.
All right, and is that medication through an injection?
Yes, one of the medications is his injection. He also has 2 other medications that he takes as well. And the group home monitors and make sure that he does take those as well. So he's medication compliant.
All right, and if he ever leaves the group home, will the court be notified?
I believe so. He does have his pretrial officer, and they're the ones that do that part of the court commitment.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything else from either side?
No, Your Honor. Just a brief question for Ms. Barrera. Hi, Ms. Barrera, Attorney Munoz on behalf of Mr. Jones. Is it y'all's understanding that he was scheduled for the injection on Friday, September the 8th?
Yes, that is correct. And due to a miscommunication between transportation, our drivers in transportation, and the front desk, they let him know that the doctor had rescheduled appointments due to not being in the office. And so transportation did not go out. However, he did get scheduled on Monday and he did get his injection.
Okay. That's the only question I had. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Any questions, State?
Nothing based on that.
All right. The court is going to ask that the warrant be recalled. And this case needs to be referred to Judge Carruthers because Judge Carruthers will be hearing it until competency is restored.
Yes, Your Honor. Understood.
All right. Thank you so much for zooming in, Ms. Ferrara. All right.
Thank you, Judge.
And refer it to Judge Carruthers.
Do you guys know what the trial,
thank you.
What trial she's handling today that
Yes.
starts today? Or what's the substance and what's the topic? Is it essay related? Is it murder? What are we dealing with?
Okay. Kevin Young.
Christopher, cases get kicked down the road. There are so
All right,
many
Kevin
hearings.
Young?
It's frustrating, but
Why am I giving this in?
Jason and hey, where's Jason? Let me grab him from office.
Okay.
Bye.
this judge has the busiest courtroom.
All right,
It's
just
just
give me
like
a
Grand
moment.
Central Station.
All right, Kevin Young.
Yes.
All right, what's happening with this case?
Judge, I know that early was also in trial, state's in trial.
Yes.
I've been trying to get to my admin. We've been in a plea, well, let me just say possible offer plea negotiations. I know that this was reset when you were out.
Yes.
And we reset it for that purpose. However, I don't believe there's any objection from the defense at this time. If we could just get a small reset that I could have, I haven't been able to get to admin. I have talked to my chief, but I haven't been able to get to the admin.
Okay. How much time are you guys requesting?
I will request at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, Your Honor, as long as it's not during my vacation. It starts on the 22nd.
It's the 22nd of September. When are you back?
I'm back in court on October 4th.
Okay. Where are you going?
I'm going to Colorado, where it's cool.
Yeah. Now watch when you go there, it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
All right. So if we recall this for October 9th,
That should be.
is that good for everyone? Or October 12th? Or should I put it the
As
week of
she's-
October 16th?
as she's figuring out the dates,
I don't know.
she's like, "Here, hold my drink."
If it's the week of October 16th, that's fine. I'm just out of town that weekend before, so.
Oh, which
They're figuring out the dates for this. The let's see. Let's say this: those who are having withdrawals from the Manhunt, I am as well, and I would like to follow more of those situations, just because we figured out that we can help a lot of times in that situation and provide. I've muted her completely. Provide information and insight and it's enjoyable. It's scary, but at the same time, it's fun for me to use the equipment that I have in that capacity. So I would encourage you guys, if you see something that happens in the news, if there's a story that's unfolding, like yesterday, we got a text from about 100 of you that UNC was on lockdown for a possible shooting situation. Turns out to have cleared very rapidly. But please let me know about those. There's a good chance I'll be able to go live with that and gather the intel and the information from the sources that we have available to us through the public output, through, like we had with the radar and police scanners and things like that. And we'd love to follow that as well. There are several manhunts going on right now. There's one that's been going on for over a month in Virginia, There's one in Florida. There's one in Texas that have been going on for a while. They just don't have that intense law enforcement focus that the Pennsylvania trial had. So we can't follow those two because there's really nothing really to upkeep on. It's more the back office and the investigators' rooms is trying to find him. Anyway, let's listen in again and see how this wraps up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Oh.
I'll talk to you about that.
All right, who is here with the interpreter? Jose Jared Soto Victorino.
Your Honor.
Is he in custody?
Yes.
Robin, name change. Those frequent name changes,
Good
sometimes you
morning.
get
Always
stuck
good to
with
see
a
you.
name. So just be aware of that.
So I've been told that the feds are not picking this case up.
That's correct, Judge.
So where are we?
So Judge, I'd made an offer previously. Defense made a counter offer today. I was going to ask for a very short amount of time just to consider it.
How much time are you asking for?
A week.
All right, Ms. Ferguson.
And Judge, and I believe the co-defendants in this case are set next week. Would we be able to do it either not next Monday, but the following Monday, or a different day than the co-defendants?
All right, when are the co-defendants set?
They're set on the 21st. And yeah, like he explained, we'd strategically like to do it on a different day.
So do you want it on the 18th or 19th?
That should work, Judge.
The 18th or 19th?
Yes, Judge.
Ms. Ferguson?
The 19th, I'm not on the 18th.
Okay. Ms. Ferguson, can you recall this for September 19th?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, and everyone, that will be the final plea deadline date.
Just 1 second here. She's turned her mic off or it's quiet. Ooh, check out that hair. That's fabulous. Okay. We also have the parole board hearings, which we've enjoyed listening to in the past. We can jump in on those as well. Louisiana Parole Board.
Is the attorney here on Renee Garza? All right, Mr. Garza.
Nicola, if you can text that to me on the burner phone, we'd love to take a look at that.
All right, so we keep having a problem with your client drinking.
I understand, Judge. Well, allegedly, Judge.
All right.
I understand allegedly.
Well, is there a test he can do today for alcohol? All right, I'm not going to sign this motion to withdraw until he goes over and gives me a UA to see if he's positive for alcohol today.
Your Honor, those results will not be immediate. They will take a couple of days for them to come back.
Okay. All right.
So if he's going today, probably won't be back until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
All right, so he needs to go over there today and do a UA for alcohol. And what's the distance from here to there?
He's going to have to go pee in the cup.
It's not too far from the jail, Judge.
Oh, okay. So you should be able to get there before 11. So you need to be over there before 11 today? And then we're
Email
going to
works.
come back and you say a couple of days?
If you would, Your Honor, come back on next Thursday, that will ensure that it's.
All right, so we're going to sit it on the 21st, and I'm not going to sign this until I get the results of that UA.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So Ms. Ferguson, can you give them a reset for the 21st?
Is it gonna be for contested as well again, or is it December contested day?
You can put it as a contested. And we'll see where we are.
And he has to be in person, correct?
Yes.
He's coming in from Houston.
Yes, to be in person. All right, so you need to get a UA done today for alcohol before 11.
Make sure you put the MD in the front of it. And no, that
All right,
doesn't
thanks.
stand for
There
doctor.
may be a little late at the facility, Judge, but.
I mean, he'll be there before 11, Judge.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to go directly there.
Yes, and I'm sure they'll have him sign in and he'll have the time on there.
Wonderful. And then we're just, at that point, he can return to Houston.
Yes.
Start drinking
and
some
then
water
come
now,
back
bud.
here on the 21st.
Start drinking
All
your
right,
water.
thank you.
Do not pass go. Go straight to the urinalysis place and hope you're clean, because the judge is having
Here
none
on
of
Kent
it.
Sturgis.
That's Michael Vernon.
Oh, Mr. DeLeon?
Yes.
Are you conferring on Mr. Sturgis?
Good morning.
Good morning.
One second.
So what is happening with Mr. Sturgis?
Judge, I have an update for the court. As the court is aware that I was appointed to Mr. Sturgis's case. He's been placed on probation here out of the 187th.
Yes.
However, he does have a warrant out of Guadalupe County for choking strangulation. I have confirmed with Guadalupe County that they do want him to be over there. They have told me personally that Bexar County Sheriff's Office needs to send a notice to them for Guadalupe to come pick him up from the Bexar County Jail.
Okay.
I tried myself to contact Bexar County Jail. It is not an easy process.
Mm-hmm.
The sheriff will not answer his phone or any of his deputies, and they are, eventually after a long time on the phone, they eventually send me to a voicemail, and I never get a call back.
Just one moment. Could we go off the record, please?
She's like, we're about to make a call. So hand me the red phone, says Judge Boyd. She's going to call, and that's they're going to get a hold of him. It'll be quick. So give him just a minute here. We'll keep the audio on as we're listening to that. Judge is like, I'm on it. She does not like people not doing their job, and there's no excuse, and she's not afraid at all to get her hands dirty to get it sorted out. It is off the record, so it won't be on the record for the court case, but she'll get it sorted. It's gonna be good. She has an incredible personality, and I think she lives larger than life up there on the bench. Where is she located? This is in Bexar County, Texas. That's spelled Bexar, Bexar County. We watched a couple trials from here. The cool thing I like about Bexar County, let me tell you this: Bexar County is wide open when it comes to the courts. Literally, county-wide, you can walk in with 6 cameras and 10 microphones, and basically, as long as you're not tripping people, you can, with some restrictions, you can pretty much set up whatever you want. And film whatever and live stream, and you could be just filming it for your own personal video collection so you can rewatch it at home, on weekends with a bowl of popcorn. It doesn't matter. They are wide open that way, as opposed to Wichita County, which does not know that cameras were invented, and they also are wide open to the press. And any member of the press, the legitimate press who wants to come and sit down and bring a notepad and a pencil is welcome to come and observe and write down things on their pencil, as long as they leave any electronic device out of the way. So not everything in Texas is the same. The two counties are different, and we love Bexar County for this. Mary Murphy, Brandy Churchwell is covering the wife murder trial. We love Brandy. We love Brandy's channel. We try not to cover the same trials. Occasionally we do. We have a lot of the same viewer population, whatever you call it. So we try to support each other, and I try to pick up trials that are on a different schedule than the one that she's covering, just so he gives you some variety instead of having your 2 favorite YouTube channels. I assume I'm one of them because you're here, but having them cover the same thing, I think there's the internet is big enough. There's definitely
all
enough
right.
crime
Who's here?
for all
Noah
us,
Moran.
Anyway, so Brandy Churchwell has that one. Let's see. JW, thank you very much for the kind words. We'll definitely be on the lookout for more situations similar to that.
And Vashon, on Mr. Sturgis, he's already been evaluated for felony drug courts, because I know it says remain in custody for felony drug court evaluation. That's been taken care of, correct? Because I don't want him to have anything holding him from being transferred to Guadalupe County.
Gregory, you've got some inside information on court. A few of us have been to court in some capacity or another. A select few have seen other buildings justice related.
All right, on this case, he had a plea deadline date. Is he requesting a jury trial, or is he going to enter a plea?
Judge, we're still waiting for a case that may be coming up. We did see that it's making its way up the pipeline to be indicted.
What case is this?
It is a
an injury to child reckless. It's still awaiting indictment. It looks like it was sent to the 186 and it's being investigated there at this point, Your Honor. So we don't, us, the family violence prosecutors in this courtroom, don't know what the status is of that case yet. We're waiting on if it will be transferred in here, which I'm assuming it will.
Okay, that's a third-degree felony. The aggravated robbery is the first-degree felony. So where are we on the aggravated robbery case?
Still been waiting to see on that other case before we start discussing.
No, but I mean, that may be here months from now. Who is the prosecutor on Noah Moran for the aggravated robbery? All right, so are there any other alleged aggravated robberies coming down, or everything has come down from the criminal trial division?
I believe from the criminal trial division side, everything's come down.
All right, so did criminal trial division make an offer?
No, yeah, Your Honor, I believe that Mr. Acevedo has been conferring with family violence since that family violence case was out there. And so I believe it's a first.
No, it's third.
Sorry.
So
It's a third.
state, if you all will make your offer on these cases, because these are first-degree felonies, and what I'm going to do is, are you able to make an offer today?
I will be able to, yes.
All right, so we're going to recall this back, and this is going to be recalled back on October 5th, and that's your plea deadline date. And the court is not going to accept any plea bargain agreements after that date. I don't know when whatever case is coming down the pipeline with family violence, so that's where we are.
Okay, Judge.
So Norma, if you give them a reset form for October 5th for plea deadline date, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Terry, I'm sorry your experience has been different than mine. I must say I have an amazing wife who I married up. I don't know why she puts up with me.
Because of the matter in Guadalupe County.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you.
Sued by the city. I nearly did. You've heard my tree story about when I was told I had to cut my trees, and I carved them into letters that may have resembled an F and a U, indicating that I was fed up with their rules. But I may have even showed pictures of those trees on this channel at some point or another, on one of the podcasts way back in the day.
All right, who's here on Jarrett Pena?
We are Judge.
All right, so where are we on this case?
Judge, this is actually my first sitting. I was here trial last week, so we reset it today. I've got an offer from the state. We're not ready to accept that offer right now. I think the state is maybe going to look at it a little bit closer. I've made an argument that it ought to be dismissed.
Okay.
And they're going to reconsider that. So I'd like another time to come back. And then we'll, at that time, I'll know for sure what we're going to do.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, you call Pena back on October 5th for a plea deadline date?
Judge, can I have it the following week? I have a trial I've got to do that week. I've got a murder case I've got to do in the 289th that week, special setting.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, if you're going to recall then this for the following week in October, what day?
Any day that week is fine.
All right, and it'll be the week of October 9th.
Let me see if I can find the tree picture.
That would be great.
All right, October 12th is going to be your plea deadline date.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. After you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Can't see where the tree picture went.
All right, off docket matter. Ayden Garcia, what is this about? Yes.
I've conferred their unopposed Mr. Escobar 2 seconds ago, and they also signed the order if the judge would consider that.
This guy just waltzes in with an order, unopposed, asking for the judge's signature. I wonder what it is.
Okay, this needs to be sent to Judge Nahara. He'll be able to do it today. Okay. All right, Ms. Ferguson, if you can have this sent to Judge Nahara. And then for everyone else, we're recessing exactly at 12.
She's got a jury trial coming up, so we're just waiting to see what that is. Did someone say it was a murder trial? Does it have any, other than, you know, murder, does it have any seriously undesirable elements that might want to make us reconsider listening in for that? Alex Murdoch trial date set for November 27th, 2023. All those financial crimes. Half of me wants to watch just because I want to see Harpootlian and Jim and everybody and the antics. Yeah, we're trying to stick around. It might be after lunch.
Ashley Caballero.
This is a compliance hearing.
Yes.
Your original conditions of probation indicated that if inpatient treatment was not recommended for Ms. Caballero to come back to court for more direction. The top did come back and it is recommending intensive outpatient treatment, monthly urinalysis, and documented sober support meetings.
The felony charges, he may be out on bail, on bond.
Since being
Bonded out.
at the jail, she presented to me since being at the jail, she presented to me a parenting class that she's completed already.
All right. Is there any inpatient support for her, maybe with women at Alpha Home or somewhere of that nature? Because the problem is you've been clean and sober because you're at the jail. So I'm trying to find a place for you where you cannot be around the same people, places, and things.
I was looking into Casa Mia.
Okay. Yes.
And, I was trying to.
Casa Mia would be a great place.
I've been looking into it, just try to see if I could get into it, or y'all could send me there or something.
All right. Is there any way we can check on Casa Mia?
We can check on Casa Mia.
Nancy, we did cover James and Cynthia. They got 4 months suspended sentence, 4 months of not shopping at Costco.
Because they actually have a new facility
that just opened.
Yes.
Together about $2,100.
I had a chance to visit.
Yeah, I had my brother call in to see if they had any, if he could try to get me to get my information in there. So when I got out or anything, if I could go in.
Okay. If we can do that.
Okay, it sounds like this case with
And
Judge
then do you
Boyd
need the contact information for Casa Mia?
might be after lunch. Is that right?
Let me write that down for you.
The Othel Wallace case? Which one is that? I might know it by a different name.
Program to helping me to try to get into some resources and stuff.
She also says that she's reached out to a program called Unlock.
Okay.
And I'd also put in for a referral to our reentry centers.
Okay. And then with Casa Mia, if you contact CrossPoint, because CrossPoint does have some connections.
I didn't follow that one,
Casa
Valerie.
Mia, and then I'll try to get in touch with the people at CrossPoint to see maybe if they can get her in. All right, so you're going to remain in custody. We're going to see if we can get you transferred to Casa Mia. And I'm going to recall this in 14 days, just so we can keep track. Okay. All right, Ms. Ferguson, on this case, if we can have a phantom date in 14 days, and I say a phantom date because if Casa Mia is going to accept you, I don't want them to say, oh, she has a court date, we're not going to accept her. So it'll be in the system for us, and you'll know that you're coming back in 14 days. What date, Ms. Ferguson?
Right.
All right, so we'll bring you back on September 28th.
Okay.
Christine, of course. It's an amazing community up there that we were able to connect with. And
I'm glad now at the jail, the uniforms are being cleaned. No, we have completed Sturgis. Yes. So, Mr. Sturgis, they should be taking you to Guadalupe County soon. All right.
Yes,
Thank
we do
for
miss
your
you
patience.
guys. I'm glad you're still popping in here.
All right, the people we have left, we need James Olterstor, Bridget Garza, Brent Hardy, Lorraine Efron, Carolyn Whitman.
Carolyn Whitman's coming up from Hayes County. She said she'll be here about 11.
All right, and who's the attorney for Fabian Cardenas?
I'm your judge. Sorry.
All right, thank you.
Taylor Elliott,
And then
thanks for gifting a membership.
Michael DeLeon, you're still working on Christian Smith?
You're comparing with the state, might have a resolution.
All right, thank you. And then it's not 11 yet for the compliance hearings?
Is there one on Zoom?
No. Okay. All right, I'm going to take a short break.
What I'll tell you, while she's on a short break, she'll turn off her camera here. See if they turn this one off. While they take a short break, what I've seen from almost all these judges in these courtrooms as we court hop around the nation is that when you have somebody who's arrested for a crime and they are trying, they're making efforts to improve and they're legitimate. We're not talking about the person who's 5 minutes before they showed up in court, they're like, oh, I just signed up for this class and I'm planning on this or that. But they're making efforts to actually improve. The judges will bend over backwards to try to help them. They'll support them. They'll say, they'll give them assets or resources or, time to do different things. But when you come in there with a little bit of attitude, even just a tiny bit of entitlement to anything in the courtroom and a lack of respect, it would have been better for you to not to show up for a court date. It would be better to just take a bench warrant. And, it's because they will throw the book at you and teach you very quickly who's in charge and what happened. Let's see. Be Kind Tiger says the Not Relevant podcast, episode 2, timestamp 34 minutes, 26 seconds, I think, regarding the trees, if you want the tree story. That podcast, we do a podcast every Friday with Weather Watch, one of our moderators and a good friend of the channel. Another YouTuber, although his channel is fairly new, we're trying to get him to release some more stuff. I think he's live right now, actually, following the storm as Hurricane Lee is going to make landfall eventually here. But he and I do a podcast, and I shared this story about the trees on the podcast. I don't get mad much. I mean, I can get excited a lot of times, but this is the closest I'd ever been to being really mad, and I was frustrated, and I did take out my frustration on the trees, and they did very closely resemble 2 letters when I was done with it. The funny thing was, after I trimmed them, and I sold my house with the trees still shaped into those letters. But unless you're at the perfect angle, you can't read them because it's like they're thick trees, and if any other angle, it's just like it looks like a weirdly pruned tree. And but at the right angle, it's very clear. And I took a picture of the right angle and posted it online. So you'll have to go watch that. That was funny. Weather Watch is live right now. Let's pop in really quickly on him just to see what he's got. He won't mind us doing this. Just 1 second. Let's see. Let's go to camera 3 really quickly. This is Weather Watch's channel right here, which you can see from the link right there. Weather Watch TX. Looks like the storm is. Let's see, how many days away is that? I can't see the schedule. Oh, there it is. I need to make it full screen. So we're looking at a Saturday 2 a.m. It's still going to be off the coast. Sunday at 2 a.m. landfall right there, the corner of Maine, and then into Canada here. Gonna get some rain and wind. That's gonna be no fun for you guys. Looks like it may be a Category 1 still when that happens, but do be careful, all of you. we'll have you in our thoughts here. Kenny says, joined your channel during the Manhunt. I wanted to continue on here. Good and kind community members. Thank you. Kenny, we would like to follow more things like that. And I have resources available as far as equipment that makes it possible for me to do what we did for Pennsylvania, for other areas that are going through similar situations. The hard part for me is finding out about the events as they happen. So if you guys, if you're on social media, if you hear of a breaking news story that may have a police presence, I think that's important to have a police presence, and something that would benefit from us providing information and sourcing information from the ground, because it's going to be different people every time. There's going to be people on Twitter that might be updating it, somebody on Facebook and whatever. I can do the research, and some of our document hounds can do the research to find those sources and put them together. We'll do that, but letting us know when something happens is key, and that's what the burner phone is useful for. So do definitely put the burner phone in your contacts. It's here. Exclamation point burner. There we go. If you save this on your phone, because you can only really get the number when we're live. Okay, you can't just type this in chat. I guess I could respond to you, but let's see. There's the burner phone number. Save that number and just shoot me a text and say, hey, this is happening. This is the area. I'll have to do a couple things immediately. I mean, I could go live immediately, and sometimes we do that with police chases if there's a pursuit or something like that. But one of the things I do, I start researching the police scanner radio. I start looking, into traffic cameras for the area and just trying to see if there's resources available. I'm not going to go live if we can't add something of value. If we can't, be able to combine some existing information and seek out some other information that maybe other people might have overlooked or don't know about. So I'll be looking for those, and then we'll go live with that if it happens. But your tips would be incredibly, incredibly helpful. Christine, thank you very much. I also, for those that are new on the channel, I have some incredible equipment that I've wanted since I was just a kid. I wanted it before it existed. Literally, I can say I wanted this equipment before it existed. And thanks to some very generous community, I was able to purchase this. It's called a Live View. It's how all the news media get their signals from across the country back up to YouTube or wherever they're routing their content to. So I have one of these devices it's pretty spendy, but I'm committed to it, and I want to be able to use it. And if it's something that I can go to and use to provide content and video and access that would be beneficial, I'll do it. And even if it might involve a plane ride, a lot like JLR did, flying up out of Florida. So that's what I want to do, and it has better capability than your cell phone. So when other people are going live from their cell phone and you're getting dropped signals, this will still be able to push an HD signal from anywhere. It's got 4 bonded cellular connections that will jump between whatever cellular platform is available. I can take US Cellular and AT&T and Verizon, and these modems will switch between all the carriers. I pay a special access fee for all that, and it's truly unlimited, so it can be like 24/7 access. And I'd like to use that and help you guys out with that. So keep that in mind. We'll do that. If I'm on scene, it might be a little different because I can't take all of this with me on scene. So I still have to figure out how best to make that happen, but we'll go there. Also, I'm planning on going to the Kohberger trial. That's why we followed the hearing this morning, the Bryan Kohberger trial in Idaho. I may be there for a month and a half, something like that, however long it takes. Obviously, that's off in the future now. It's probably going to be a couple of years away. But that's why we're paying so much close attention to the judge's ruling on cameras in the courtroom, because that would have a direct impact on how I cover that. All right. I love that dream of yours. It is my dream. It really is. I will tell you, Red Pen, this might be nerdy and just off topic, and everyone can tune out if they don't appreciate it, and I apologize for that. But I have a dream of live streaming where the viewer is in more control. And you see that a little bit with our little commands where you guys can enter commands and do things. I literally have a system set up right now that I don't know how to implement in a useful way, where viewers can control which cameras are shown, can control, audio levels, can control sound. And so if I can just get the sources together and then set it up in a way where viewers can jump between things, that the technology is that carries the video to you, the website technology really that allows embedded video is behind on this, and that's where we're waiting for that to catch up. But if that can work, I would love it. I would love it to be able to, for you guys to say, I want to watch the judge during this, or I want to see the defendant during this, or I want to see this, and have you each individually be able to watch whatever you want by choice and be able to switch seamlessly between these videos. So YouTube technology isn't there yet, but I'm acquiring the hardware and pieces that will be necessary as soon as that is available, and it'll be different. Imagine watching a basketball game where you could jump between all of the 16 cameras that were there at will, at any time. That's what I have in mind. And it's a dream. It's way up there. Somebody's probably going to do it before me, and that would be awesome. But that's good. Anyway, enough about that. Can you carry the PA news about the interview with DC? Pauline, I don't have a direct link to that right now. I watched part of that. I can summarize the parts that stood out to me. Basically, they interviewed him and asked, a little bit about what happened and what his plans were. And the parts that stood out is he says three times he was almost stepped on. Like literally, he was almost stepped on by an officer. Which, he's just laying there holding his breath, camouflage, under logs, trees, branches, brush, leaves, whatever he's doing. And they almost stepped on him 3 times. Crazy. You literally have people that walked right by him. And that was probably before he had the firearm with him, I'm guessing. But his plan was, he said within the next 24 hours, he was going to hijack a car using that gun, hijack a car and try to get into Canada to make an escape. I don't know if he was filmed during the interview. That would be a very difficult video to get a hold of, because it's not ever going to go to court, I don't think. And, well, it might go to court if they press charges for escape. That might be where we see those interviews. If they press the charges, which they're contemplating. I haven't heard if they're going to actually move forward with them. Tracy says, I wanted to say a personal thank you for your coverage of the manhunt. You provided myself and our community the best and most up-to-date info. I'm indebted to you for all you did. Tracy, it was a small thing for me, honestly. I'm glad it was a big help for you. The reason why I say it's a small thing for me is because we got so much information from people on the ground in your community that were telling us what they were seeing in their area, people that were helping me even with the maps, locating stuff. Obviously, the 2 cameramen that allowed us to use footage, Nick the Hat and JLR Investigates, just all these different sources together. The part I brought in was just the YouTube channel, and where I could put it together for you in one place. But really, it was everyone else's work that really deserves the credit there, and I appreciate all of them for making that possible, and all of you. I still have hundreds of messages. I'm trying to reply to all of them, thanking you for all the, even if it's just a picture or an update or a little informative story. I heard so much that people weren't necessarily wanted to have shared over the air about experience directly with the fugitive, with just all sorts of bits of information that was just fascinating and extremely helpful. The interview was carried on most of the major news networks. Lena, you'd probably go to Fox 29. That one probably would have it for sure. ABC 6, Philly is also would have carried that interview. Action News, I don't know where Action News is. Fox 29 on YouTube would probably be your best bet. ABC 6 would be on their website. Escape charges have been filed. So, Jake, that means that there's a good chance we might hear a little bit about the testimony, the interview. Aaron says, wait, what did he say in the interview? Okay, just the parts that I picked out. I think this happened through a translator as well. But the fugitive said that 3 times over the course of this pursuit, and I don't know when it was. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the last day, because they had a lock on him with thermal for quite a while that last day. But 3 times during the search, he was almost stepped on by police officers. They literally walked right next to him or over him, probably next to him. I don't think anyone stepped over him. But that's how close he was to being caught as he was hiding. He speaks Portuguese. Could be a tough video for most of us. It would be. They're probably going to be a translator or closed captions. Or all of us will just have to really quickly learn Portuguese. I'm not sure which option you prefer there. I'm pretty sure I can't learn Portuguese in time for that. Deb K, I was also surprised, considering he had a firearm. That was that just ups the ante for everybody. Shonuff says Recovery Addict needs a 360 VR camera deployed at scenes or events. How awesome would that be? Shonuff, we may be able to do that. If here's the problem, I need to understand better how the output of a camera from a 360 VR camera works, because it needs to be able to be outputted through an SDI connection, like a digital SDI connection, which is a commercial bayonet style plug, or an HDMI, and then how to transmit the signal and where. I mean, can you? I guess you can do VR to YouTube, right? You should be able to upload VR that way. That would be very interesting to do on something. It's new and it's different, and it's something I like that way. So, if you have recommendations, shoot them to my burner phone really quickly. If there's a specific camera that you'd like me to research, and I'll see what I can do. Okay. All my bags have a cheap razor for just in case. Yokorama. He did also say that he found the razor he shaved with, he just found it in the backpack that he found. And I haven't heard where he found the backpack. But let's see. Preliminary hearing for DC set at 9:27 in Kennett Square. Patricia, we'll try to keep an eye on that. 9:27. What else is happening 9:27? Man, I don't think we have Sarah Boone that early. Is there something else, a big court date we have on the calendar? I'll have to check. Can you show the interview on your channel? Hang on, we've got a call coming in. I think this is international. Let's see if we can take it live.
Hello, this is Shane from...
To accept, press 1. To send a voice...
Oh, no. That was Shane from Ireland. I tried to push 1. I pushed it twice, which I think it counted as a 2, but it went to voicemail. Maybe Shane did not want to be live on, but we've talked to him before. Shane, let me know if that works. I cut you off right at the beginning. Can you show the interview on your channel? I could. I just don't have it ready right now. Let me. Where's my sources? Oh, we're missing the judge. Hang on. Hold tight. Let me look for the interview really quickly.
All right, your attorney is out ill. So, Ms. Ferguson.
Your attorney's sick. I would reschedule your court date.
Can you email the attorney and see if maybe next week he'll be available by Zoom? That way his client doesn't have to wait in custody, if he feels up to it. So are we able to recall this for the 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
If grants available.
All right. So we're going to recall it for the 21st, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you then. And tell Mr. Hardy he can appear by Zoom.
I'm looking for
Yes, you can have him by
the
Zoom.
video
No.
here.
Probation is saying no. So the defendant can be in the courtroom. No, we'll work it out.
I think this is the video. Let's see if we can play this one. Here's the catch. Either we watch Judge Boyd, or we watch the video. I don't think we can watch both at the same time.
All right. Are the persons here for compliance?
Your Honor, is everyone on Zoom?
No.
Ms. Garcia's here,
Right, can I see the phone?
waiting for her counselor to appear on Zoom. I'll reach out to the counselor right now.
I've got the video on standby. Let's see what the case is for Judge Boyd. She's supposed to start it right now, right? It's supposed to be at noon, or is it 1:30? Who can give me a confirmation of the docket for Judge Boyd really quickly? One of our document hounds. The trial she has for this afternoon. First of all, is it a jury trial? What's the main charge, and what's the time on that one? And if we've got enough time, we'll watch the video first.
All right, thank
and then
you.
catch the trial. Keep the judge. We've got the judge up still. It's only 11 a.m. in Texas. That's what I'm saying. If we've got a while before her trial starts, and it's just these really quick hit procedural things, it might be beneficial to watch this interview and then jump back to the judge. Take a poll. Well, it's not a democracy. This is like a, well, I'm king. Let's put it that way. 12 Central Time. So 1 o'clock. We have an hour. 1 hour. Let's do the interview. The interview is not going to take that long. As a matter of fact, the interview is going to take 38 minutes if we watch the whole thing. So let's do the interview, and then we'll jump back to the judge so we can catch the trial. I would like to see. You just said stand Boyd. Stand by. I said stand Boyd. Sometimes my mouth goes a lot slower than my brain, and it just tries to catch up when I say random words that aren't connected or shouldn't be.
Yes.
I have to. I'll tell you one time, most embarrassing experience. I debated telling it in the podcast. I think I'll actually tell it now. But it'll be on the podcast night, though. Jayla says, "Hey, you asked us."
Sign off on this. Yes.
All right, here we go. We're gonna switch over to the trial. Just 1 second here.
I'm pleased to be able to report that thanks to the extraordinary
Is this
work
the right one?
of law enforcement officials from here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
Is there a new one?
our local leaders here in Chester County, and from our federal partners all across this nation, shortly after 8 a.m., our suspect was captured. I want to say, first and foremost, thank God there were no injuries to law enforcement or to the public. We obviously became deeply concerned after the suspect was able to steal a weapon. He was apprehended this morning with no shots fired. I want to say thank you to the dedicated law enforcement professionals from every level who each and every day go out of their homes, leave their families, leave their loved ones to keep us safe. The public over the last 13 days has had a chance to see what excellence in law enforcement
we are going to switch.
means.
We're going to try to find the other interview. So sorry about that. We're going to cut back out to this one. We watched this one together on that. We'll sit with Judge's Court just for a minute while we look for that other video. We're looking for the one that has the U.S. Marshal unit.
Ms. Ferguson, if you can make sure this has a setting.
Yes, ma'am.
A day ago.
Christian Smith.
I have an update for the court, Judge.
All right. And yes, what is your update?
I was appointed to Mr. Smith last sitting.
Yes.
We have spoken to the district attorney's office. We're going to be doing pretrial diversion.
Okay.
Once 2 classes are completed, the case will be dismissed. And we just need a little bit more time to get those classes done.
All right, Ms. Ferguson, can I have a PTD date, please?
Yes, ma'am.
No problem. How old are you?
22. I can do October 19th.
You're going to have to start making better decisions in your life. You understand? What are you doing with your future?
I'm just working. I'm working at a restaurant, so I can take over the family restaurant in Arkansas.
Sorry, do what?
Oh, my bad. Currently working at a restaurant. So
No, your mistake, not my bad.
My mistake.
Okay.
I'm currently working at a restaurant to build my background so I can take over the family restaurant in Arkansas.
All right. So there's a family restaurant in Arkansas? And what type of food do they have?
Barbecue.
Is it good barbecue?
It's funny would love it.
I would love it.
It's Arkansas barbecue though, isn't it?
Okay, so are you planning on going to live back in Arkansas?
And 6 more months of the job I'm at so I can build my experience.
Why are there no restaurants in Arkansas to build your experience?
My cousin wants me to do it down here. He just doesn't want me to go all the way up there and then be like, oh, I don't love it anymore. And then just come back and I'll
All right, and is this your first cousin?
Yes, ma'am.
And are your parents are aware of this? Where are your parents?
My mom's actually at work right now, but she's aware of it.
Okay, and is she in San Antonio?
Yes.
So all your other family is here in San Antonio?
Just my grandmother, my grandpa, and a few of my aunts.
Okay. How far did you go in school?
I graduated.
All right. You know they have plenty of classes that you can take at San Antonio College, Monte Vista, all these different places to give you a little bit more background in restaurant business. And I think they have some classes that are free. So you wouldn't be in any debt and you'd have more knowledge.
We should Google that.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you back on October 19th. Just sign the reset form and you're excused.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
You're
Do you
welcome.
see how quickly she turned there? He's like, my bad. She's like, my mistake. And he took the correction. And she's like, here, let me help. And she's friendly and she gives him advice. It's so fun to watch this. She's an amazing judge. Interview link in mod chat. Thank you, Weather Watch, for that. Let me.
Right. So where are we on this case?
Judge, we received an offer.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. I cannot use CNN.
We received an offer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other source out there?
But we're declining the offer at this time. It's my understanding that the state of Texas hasn't had any contact with the complainant.
All right. Did you receive an offer today?
Yes, we did.
All right. Mr. Alvarado, I'm going to give you a plea deadline date. And so what that means is after that date passes, the court is not going to accept any plea bargain agreements without good cause. Otherwise, you have to appear plea open to the court. Do you understand? So there is no, we're declining an offer at this time. And then if the state ends up having their complainant and their complainant comes in and you say, oh, now I would do an offer. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So
Judge, also, I'd like to also file a motion to set a bond on, looks like he has an evading arrest case, but on that case, he doesn't have a bond. He's remanded without bond on that case.
Okay.
I'm not sure why he was never, why there was never set a bond on that case.
all right. I don't know anything about that case. Has that case been indicted or no?
He hasn't been indicted on that case.
All right. So Norma, in this case, we're going to do a plea deadline date and call this back for next week for a plea deadline date. And Criminal Trial Division, if you want to look into this evading case that he has so you can discuss it with his counsel, it's Aaron Alexander Alvarado. And what date for next week, Ms. Ferguson?
21st.
All right. So September 21st is going to be your plea deadline date. After that, the court will not consider any plea bargain agreements without good cause. Otherwise, you have to plead open to the court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And the state is going to see if they can pull up some information on the other case.
I can't find a copy of that interview that I can use.
Clayton Russell.
Let me tell you this while they're calling this case. I did find out the information. Remember the question that was asked in the press conference where somebody said, "Were you concerned that the escapee was going to team up with another short man and have him jump inside a trench coat, Little Rascal style. And that gentleman that asked that question is sort of a prankster. He's a podcaster and prankster. He has a podcast. I'm not endorsing this podcast in any way, but his podcast, I think, is called Little Stinkers or Lil Stinkers. And he basically was nearby, and he's like, hey, the door's open for the press conference. I'm going to walk in. And so he asked that question, and about 30 seconds later, a state trooper came up and asked him, hey, are you with the press? And he's like, oh, no, not really. And he's like, you need to go. And so he was sort of escorted out there. But he did sort of just walk in and ask just a weird. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Test 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. I'm just checking to see if this thing's on. Okay. Yes, comes back. Still here. All right. Wow. Yeah, that was quick. We lost all of our internet. I think it was a surge because there was a little bit of a flash on my end, like lights brightened or something. Something popped up in peripheral, and the internet took a big hit. But we are back on the same feed. Here's what I said. I thought we should take a lunch, and then come back and catch this this Boyd trial. But I also have a dilemma. I am so close to finishing my Airbnb, and I have to run to Home Depot or Lowe's to grab a whole bunch of stuff. And I can't necessarily do both. I can't live stream. Judge Boyd just broke for lunch. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and break for lunch. Can we do that? And then the only thing I had on the schedule this afternoon, I actually didn't have anything on the schedule, but the only thing we have to do is Judge Boyd's trial, which is right after lunch. Should be in an hour, right? You guys are going to love me for this. Hang on.
Is there something else I can help with?
There we go. Hey Siri, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, counting down.
Timers across the nation will now go off. Okay, so it's going to remind me. I think the judge gets an hour break, right? Does she take an hour lunch? My camera switch focus and everything. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Upper Torso, keeping on Judge Boyd for you. Definitely clearing the docket for a jury trial this afternoon, but then the feed cut. I think they're starting a new one this afternoon. Okay, I think we're good. All right. I think that's it. Let's take a lunch, everybody. You've earned it. You've earned it. Let's get some lunch. We'll be back. Give us an hour. I think that's when Judge Boyd comes back. We want to watch this jury trial with her. This is day 2 of Judge. Oh, so what have we missed? Problem with Judge Boyd is you can't go back and watch things. It's live or nothing. I didn't realize it was day 2. I thought it was day 1. So we would have missed the opening statements from both parties and probably a few of the witnesses. Depending on the trial, it's probably going to be just a few-day trial. I haven't ever seen her have a long trial, so maybe 2 or 3 days max. Oh, it was jury selection yesterday? Did they also have opening statements? So we missed opening statements and 3 witnesses. We might have to have somebody who watched that maybe call in when we come back from lunch and just give us a quick rundown, just so we understand what the players are, what the scenario is, and catch us up, and then we'll run with it from there. Does that work? I've never watched a trial in Judge Boyd's courtroom, so hopefully it's a good one. Okay, my chat is not working. I need to refresh here. I've got people saying it's live or not live. Are you guys seeing me? Is this working? Brandy ran it yesterday. Video from yesterday is on her channel still. Well, go figure. Let's see. Okay, here it is. 17 hours ago. Let's start this one. This is State versus Harris, right? We listen to really quickly. Okay, I am back. I am back right now, but we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do. If we're going to go to lunch or what. Why am I not getting any audio? 3 is on.
Anything, and another
okay.
You would say, it would hear me saying, "Put your hands up," or "Put your hand."
Okay, they watched the video where they muted the audio for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, copy. So.
Let me see if I can find the opening statements in this one. 22 hours ago. My internet is still going slowly.
Oh, he just went to go grab some water. Now, I've said...
Or Dyer. Sorry, I'm jumping around. Let me show you what I'm doing right here. So
Just hold them up, keep them up, please. And I'm going to go through here, number 5, 9, 11, and 12. Thank you. You can put your card down. Who agrees with number 4? Number 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 10.
This is jury selection.
Tuesday. Homeland Security, did you ever work anywhere in terms of law enforcement?
Okay, I can just see the jury selection. That's the only part. That's Wednesday the 13th. If I can find the beginning of the trial, I'd like to watch that and then catch up on the rest. Okay, we're having enough trouble with the audio. The audio for the trial, Brandy's covering is spotty. Is Brandy covering this trial? She's not in Bayer's courtroom, or Judge Boyd's courtroom, is she? She's doing the sex therapist trial and the Murdoch hearing. Okay. It's a sign. Go get lunch. This is it. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Brandy's on something else. I'm going to try to see if I can find the opening statements for the for this trial in Judge Boyd's courtroom. The audio is weird. There are times it's quiet for quite a while. Brandy's not on this trial. Okay, we want to try to pick this one up. See if we can catch yesterday. Do you want part two from yesterday's? You want part two from yesterday's streamed 18 hours ago. Let's see. Let me do some work here, and we'll come back after lunch and do that. Does that work? We're gonna do a get a mulligan and start over from scratch. Karen says it's weird to see you this week without 5 windows on the screen. I could put 13 windows up if you want, or I can do 16 as my max actually, which is a little too much to see anything. But that I monitor 13 plus the screens I have right here. So up there is 13 screens. Total 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 or so is what I usually have running. 19 things to look at. All right, we'll be back after lunch. Let me just say thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to be back with you as we're watching court today. As always, do let me know if there's a breaking incident that you think we need to cover, that we could be of assistance to the people in that area. That would be great. You can reach out on the burner phone for that. For those that are calling it a quits today and are off to do something bigger and better than what we're doing here now, please, when you go home tonight, hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and stay safe till we go live again. Give us about an hour. We'll be back. We're going to try to cover this case with Judge Boyd, Stephanie Boyd, out of Bayer County, Texas. I'll do a little research in the meantime and see if we can get the opening statements and catch up to where she's at today. We might even play it on a little higher speed just so we can get through the parts we missed until we can get to the current trial, and that might be great. So thank you all. We'll see you in a little bit. Well, have a good one. Enjoy your lunch. Bye.